Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the show. Forgot my hat here. All right. I keep it cool in my house. My head gets cold. So, jeez. All right. So, I hope everybody's well. I wanted to finish off this situation that we got going on with Coach Greg Adams. That's why I want to do the show right now. And I got something to do. I'm going to hang out with my son. We're going to go see a movie tonight. He called me up last night, or he texted me last night and said he want to go see a movie today. So I'm like, all right, yeah. So I was going to do the show tonight. And then Friday night, we got another topic that I wanted to do a live show about. So got some stuff going on this week. I did not get to my other channel this week, which I'm kind of upset about. There's a lot of stories I want to cover, but I am not a full-time podcaster yet. Who's in the building here? Who's saying hello? Out of sight, out of mind. Hello on the road, but I hit the like button and ready to listen. Okay, very good. Appreciate that. If you make sure you hit the like button if you watch this on a replay. All right, so I'm going to read something here from Coach Greg Adams before we get to it here. Let me add this to the stage here. Let me see if I can make this any bit bigger for you guys so you guys can read it here. So this is something that Coach Greg Adams posted about 2 hours ago. I do not follow him. It just kind of popped up on my feed here. It says, it appears that I was canceled last night by the Manosphere leadership. I don't know what or who he's talking about here. And I graciously accept this award. I was hosting a live stream at the same time with many more viewers, so I missed it. However, this comes as no surprise. My metrics are up, views are up, subscribers are up on both my main channels. Book sales are up. My supporter and the coach gang in the Shield has gotten tighter, and I've been invited to more podcasts and interviews since Monday Cooking. I guess that's Monday's Cooking. Indeed, this has been the best free marketing CGA has gotten since 2022. The villain is here to stay, and this opens up a whole new lane of content for me since I've been excommunicated. Funny how things work out. God works in mysterious ways. Would that be the Sky Daddy that he kept talking about last night? That as we listened to last night, and here's a picture of him getting canceled, I guess. Or this is the post that he put on there by the Manosphere. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know who's canceling him or who's in the main who is in the Manosphere or leadership. I don't know what he's talking about there. Got a bunch of likes there, 106 comments. I'm not going to go through that. And if you scroll down a little bit more here, this was posted, I guess, after his a debate with Andrew Wilson. Traditional marriage is for men that win, not broke male losers past the age of 30. You'll be a stepdaddy at best to a woman that has kids by two other men. I think these are shots fired at Andrew Wilson. Traditional 1950 marriages was literally a glitch in the marital system. Not many people enjoyed it as you would think. It is not coming back to save men, and most women want nothing to do with it. Good luck. That was posted, I guess that was on his X account on November 4th. And this is one day ago, and still not all wins are pretty. You can watch the full unedited live stream only on this channel. I guess on Andrew's channel, he edited it or something like that. I have nothing to hide. I didn't delete mine. By the way, the Manosphere has turned weak, had a black man married a black woman with kids from two different baby daddies and had kids with her. Med would cook him and her. However, you had tissue for Miss Daisy all of a sudden. I assume by Miss Daisy, he's referring to Andrew Wilson's wife, Rachel Wilson. I assume. This is all allegedly, and I assume, and I don't know. Anyway, free agents in the Shield, plus the after pill moving forward. And this is him with his face over Michael Jordan's face, talking about the times they won 2 championships. So that's what he's got going on there. So apparently there's some kind of beef that's going on behind the scenes. I'm not aware of who he's talking about or anything like that. But I just want to highlight that for a second here. Let me take this off the screen here. And we will get into the rest of this. We'll get into the rest of this here. Let me close out the rest of this here. Let's change. Let me close all this out. Okay. All right. All right. Anybody else in the building? Make sure you hit the like button. Say hello. Hit the like button. We're gonna get into it here. This is the rest of the episode. As I mentioned, I got something to do later on tonight. And then tomorrow night, I wanted to have a guest on. We're going to talk about some other topic. We're going to do that live. So I wanted to kind of get this, and hopefully I can get something in the morning on my other channel. All right. So here we go. Here, hold on. Let me get this up. Home, and of course somebody's texting me. Oh, hold on a second here. Hold on. I am expecting a phone call, so I may have to pause it for a minute there. I am expecting a phone call here that I have to take. All right, so that's none of that. All right. So let me get to my channel here. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you hit the like button. Home. Let me see history. Channel. Live. All right, here we go.
That was a snapshot in history that you're trying to achieve again.
So
take it back further. There's no marriages in the Black community.
Let's say we'll take it. Let's say we take it all the way back to the 1700s. Let's just say, just for the sake of it, right? And that I'm totally wrong about all this, just for the sake of argument. Let's just say, what is your prescription to deal with any of those issues when you're telling men in the Black community to not get married? How is that going to assist with abortion? How's that going to assist with strong fathers in the home? How's that going to assist with the only demographic population which can't reproduce itself? How? Can you give me a single prescription to any of that?
Let me tell you something. I agree with you on this.
I just want a prescription, dude.
Here's the problem. I agree with you. And listen, if you had any ability to provide this prescription better than Louis Farrakhan or Martin Luther King,
does that mean no?
Give me a second. Listen to me. These men have tried to pretty much heal this issue, and they haven't. So Andrew Wilson certainly not to. Neither will CGA. So I don't have a prescription for the Black community because Black community is pretty much doomed at this particular point. They have too much degeneracy. They have single mother rates at the 70 and 80%. But I'm going to tell you something. You want to come in here and tell me something about ecclesiastics, and you're telling me about the reality of the Black community, how to fix it.
So here's a brother who's saying the Black community is doomed here. Unfortunate.
Nobody's been able to fix that community. So there's nothing you can do, and I can't offer any solution for that. Now, at that particular point, you're saying the risk is higher. It certainly will be higher under those matriarchal conditions. So you get no argument from me there. So at that point, where's your statistics lie then?
Well,
where's your solution then?
I'll tell you again. So I'm glad
he's going to solve the community problems here. I'd love to hear this.
Listen again. I'm not saying
the Black community problem solved by Andrew Wilson.
That says the guy who literally just got done saying, I have zero prescriptions.
Because nobody does. That community is here. But I would love to hear the Black community solved by Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, so let me tell you a bunch of things that can be done which will help mitigate these
issues. Please do.
The first is
that you can accomplish, not some pipe dream.
That can be accomplished.
Okay, here we go.
That can be accomplished politically and already are beginning to be accomplished politically. The first is you have to outlaw abortion. You have to. It has to be outlawed. And not by state where you can just go to the next state and do another abortion. Right? One of the biggest problems with promiscuity in the Black community is that they use abortion as a form of birth control. Same problem that you see in the white community, by the way. It's just more prevalent in the Black community. The next problem that you have there is the lack of religiosity, where they use.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's true. And in fact, we know, I've covered these stats as well. Black men use condoms at the highest rates. So, we have some promiscuity issues for sure.
To be a really strong core religious base of based Black men, and they were patriarchal, very patriarchal. And the thing is that it's the idea of these feminist bra-burning lunatics that told Black women not to be under the evil patriarchy of their men. And yet, at this point, the men are rolling over and allowing the matriarchy to take over in their own community. Is a return to traditional church ethics going to assist that? Of course it will. Of course it will. How do I know? Because it did then, just a few short years ago. I'm not talking about hundreds of years ago. I'm talking about 60 years ago. By the way, there's other things that you can do too. Getting rid of EBT, getting rid of social programs which are designed to keep people dependent. These are all things which can be politically accomplished. Just like abortion, the starting of banning that was politically accomplished in our lifetime. And the thing is like, You have no prescriptions. Fuck, at least I'm trying here, man.
Man, Andrew, you are Captain Obvious. This is the
Well,
obvious
then why didn't you
prescription.
obviously state it as a prescription?
Because people have exhausted the means to be able to do this. Trust me, there have been people way better than you that dress better than you and shave their beard better than you that can do this, and they haven't been able to accomplish it. You have the Democratic Party that is highly influential. 92% of black women voted for Democrats. That's also possibly where most of those women go to church. Most of black churches are overwhelmingly women. It's a women's club, and you're telling me about something completely obvious that everybody has pointed out for 25 years. You're not giving me anything new. This is a completely obvious scenario, and you believe that you've enlightened me over here, and you're waiting for me to give you a solution. Let me tell you something.
Not about changing your mind.
You certainly would never do that. Now, at this particular point here, the unsettling experience that men experience in divorce. All right, you're saying you're just going to mitigate it or eradicate it. What about the small percentage of men that experience it and go through issues like high levels of self-deletion, high levels of them not being able to recover financially ever? They're still going to experience this under your scenario.
I don't know about ever. There is some data. I try to be fair about this. There is some data saying that, after something like 8-9 years after divorce, men start making money again. So there is, after being financially ruined, if you keep going. I don't know the exact number of years, so don't quote me on that, but there is some data about that. Greetings, High Vibe. I started another poll here, a question and answer. What will save the black community? Let me edit this. Can I edit this? No, I can't edit that, right? No. I meant to say, what will it take to save the black community? So if you guys want to go over there and type that in, I'd appreciate that, or just put it in the chats as normal, and hit the like button. Hit the like button.
This doesn't disappear.
It'll
what
never
prescription
disappear.
do you have for those men that went through your marriage and they got divorced 33%? What do you do with these men?
33%
Okay, 20%, 30%. It still was at a high rate.
I think it would
what
even be
prescription
lower than that.
You would hope so. You would hope so. The hope is not a strategy. What hold on for a second. What scenario do you have for men that you led into the burning building when they experience separation from their children, parental alienation, high levels of self-deletion? What prescription do you have, sir, that you sold? Have all
CGA is still talking about the divorce stuff, and he's not. No, well, maybe we've moved on from that. We're picking up from yesterday, but that's just not the point of the debate. But that's what he's harping on. So I guess this is why he's saying that he won the debate, or people are saying that he won, because Andrew couldn't come up with any types of immediate, permanent fixes.
Have all the answers. Please enlighten us. What are you going to do with these men? Are you going to enforce them to have sex with other virgins that you have on the sideline?
I'll answer the question, but I want to make a deal with you that if I answer this last question of yours, that you'll actually answer when I ask you after that.
Listen, we're not in a court of law. I don't have to answer anything. I can state something.
Yeah, no, but I'm asking if we can make a deal. That if I answer this question, you'll answer
the question that you asked me. I'll consider.
So we're not going to make a deal on that?
I don't have to make a deal. Listen,
you don't have to. I'm asking if you will.
Possibly. So go ahead.
Possibly. Okay. Well, then I possibly will hold the debate hostage until you possibly make a deal with me.
All right. Great. So that gives me the floor.
So we'll just sit here and stare at each other, or we just filibuster each other.
Like at this particular point. You don't want to.
So I can. This is pretty childish. This is. I gotta say, I think this is pretty childish by CGA. All the man is asking for is for him to actually answer a question. So I don't think that's. I don't think that's too bad. What's up, October? Happy Friday Eve to you. Friday Eve.
Answer it. You want to answer it,
but you're not going to answer mine. I just want that clear. You're not going to answer mine after. You're just going to filibuster and stonewall again.
I ask you the question, put it on the table.
So this is pretty simple, right? What you're proposing here. Every policy prescription which is made anywhere in any nation, with any people group, from the tribal all the way to the national level, is going to be a trade-off, no matter what. There's always going to be some people who are disaffected by it in some small percentage, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We don't run societies based on outliers. The second thing is, when it comes to suicide in men, particularly, one of the best ways to mitigate that is to begin the process of eliminating deployment of troops abroad. Because one of the biggest contributing factors to male suicide, including in marriage with divorce, is their veteran status. And it's because they really... That's
definitely true. You want to stop a lot of suicides, you got to stop, obviously, the causes of it, be it unemployment, veterans coming back with post-traumatic stress, coming back and their wives are gone, their children are gone while they're deployed. That's definitely an issue. Why more people aren't against these wars and about to line up and go to war with Iran and Venezuela. I don't know why more people aren't outraged by that. I'm outraged by it.
Really depend on their family to assist them with what's going on mentally from the fact they've been deployed.
What's up, Waterman? Appreciate you coming in. I don't know either of these gentlemen. I have to side eye the black man who has no prescription, just a list of all that's wrong. I assume he profits off this one-sided rhetoric. Well, yeah, we definitely spoke about that at length yesterday. He definitely. I've never been one to follow CGA and Coach Greg Adams, but he's definitely just pointing out a bunch of negatives. And I got to say, again, the debate is marriage worth it? And he's not answering the question. He's got a bunch of negatives. You got to admit that this is not this is not the debate. Now, if he said, I guess Coach Greg Adams is saying no, it's not worth it, and here's the reason why: because of divorce. Andrew is at least trying to say, if you change some of these things, then if you can get to the marriage portion of it, then that can be good. He's advocated from a wrap up from summary from yesterday, the first half that we watched from Andrew's point of view is if you have lay a foundation for the children to grow up in, if you think of this as a house, lay the foundation as for the children to grow up in, you're in the marriage, which would be the middle of the house. And if you have this, the ceiling or the roof would be the elders that you could go to who could rein you in, men and women, when they are going astray. No, baby, go home, deal with your husband. No, man, you need to go home and deal with your wife. You need to work things out. Don't leave her. Don't put your hands on her. Don't become violent. Same thing for the women. Don't become violent. Don't put your hands on him, even if it's verbally, right? Emasculating him, all these different types of things. These are the roles that the elder should play. And his ceiling, and also not only that eldership type of thing would not only come from parents, grandparents who have been down this road, but also from a religious perspective. That's his prescription. At least he has one. At least he has one. And I certainly would go for the community aspect of it. I think that one of the big things that has happened to our community is that we lost community. When we stopped seeing each other as people, moving away from each other, not speaking to each other, moving into more isolated communities. There was a time when the children had respect for their aunties, people in the community, and we all had the stories. I assume if you're above 45 or so, you have the stories about walking on the street. Miss Johnson from over here and Mr. Taylor from over there. They all knew your mother and all that. They all went to church together. All went to the same school together. Whatever. Once you got away from that, with somebody to tell on you or to hold you accountable, to someone to hold you accountable, then this is the degeneracy that we are seeing in this day and time. So. This debate is like cheese pizza with no toppings. Big discussion 76. Yes, you're absolutely right. The leadership matters. When we don't have that, it's going to be an issue. Looking forward to our chat there, Doctor. Appreciate that.
In these wars. And one thing you could really do that would help that's what the American First policy is we want to bring the troops home, no more foreign wars. That will greatly help and aid with this problem. And by the way, policy-wise, it's already been aiding with this as Trump has wound these wars down. And by the way, I'll point out
that's a good one. I like it.
As he won the wars down, as he just didn't start it.
I'll point out a few more things that you can
please do. Yes.
So another thing that you can do is at the national level, right? Propaganda works. I'm sure you agree. Propaganda absolutely works.
Absolutely.
If at a national level you had propaganda, which instead of showing LGBTQ flags, degeneracy, girl boss.
Yeah, high vibe. Yes, black people do not speak to each other. It's the weirdest thing, especially in places where we are low in number. You would think we'd be happy to see another black person. Listen, I've been walking through train stations, airports, other cities, going out to eat, restaurants. These people don't talk. They don't look at you. It's wild. I could never imagine that. Could never imagine that. Could never imagine that. It's crazy. It's crazy we don't speak to each other. We went from black power and empowerment to, everybody was brother. What's up, bruh? What's up? What's going on, bruh? To don't even look at each other when you're walking on the street. It's wild how that has taken root in our communities. It's wild. Absolutely, absolutely. You're right. You're right about that, high vibe.
Seeing shit like this, which is what you see everywhere. Right. You had institutional family units instead. right? And that was what you saw everywhere that you went. And that was where the social status was. At the top-down level, that would really help change people's psyches around. The same way they were indoctrinated towards the degeneracy, same way you can indoctrinate them out of degeneracy. That's how we got a whole nation to smoke. And it's also how we got a whole nation to quit smoking. So the thing is, like, there really are good prescriptions here. And the only thing I get from you...
Wait a minute.
Hang on.
We're talking about
almost done. Almost done.
Okay.
Yes. That'll help with self-deletion of men. Yes. And it's one of the biggest contributing factors. Single motherhood, another huge contributing factor. These are all things which we need to mitigate. And by the way, these are all great prescriptions. You said I don't have none.
No, for a second. That's what you said. Now, here's the deal. These are great prescriptions. I happen to live in the time that you're talking about when the FCC didn't allow degeneracy, and I was able to live through the time where they started to allow it. So I, unfortunately, was able to see a time where America was great, and now we had dysfunction. So I agree with some of those things. That took place probably 40 or 50 years. It would take a very, very unique scenario for that to occur when you have Cardi B and this type of music out here. And she's a single mother divorcee with a man that is having babies with multiple
that's
men.
a good argument.
Okay, so how...
That's an actual argument.
Hold on for a second. No, that's something that you agree with. That's okay.
No, that's
okay.
an actual
okay.
argument.
No, it's an agree. You just agree. You can be humble enough to say you
That's
agree
an actual argument.
No, listen, you don't have to be, you don't have to belittle or attempt to belittle.
Well,
I'm here a grown-ass man.
The argument
just say
is
you agree.
propaganda
Hey,
takes time.
listen, just say you agree. You want to
It's not a matter of agreement. It's a matter of recognizing that was an argument.
It's okay, sir.
It's
I know
the only
you're
argument
not
you've
used
made
to
the whole
somebody across
debate.
from you. No, just say you agree. You can humble yourself in a second.
I don't agree. It's just an argument.
You agree.
It's
Be a
just-
big boy. Be a big boy.
I don't
Now,
agree, but
hold
it's
on
an
for a second.
argument.
Here's a second.
Okay.
You're telling me it's going to take 50 to 100 years.
No.
I ask you about a man that's considering taking his life today. You're telling me about propaganda machine. Okay, there are men here that are been abandoned from their kids. They've been alienated. I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about in the church. I'm talking about today.
Okay, I'll answer
You're
you
telling
today.
me about some scenario where you're going to change liberalism and bring in righteous conservatism. That's not going to work today. We need solutions for men today, not 50 years from the turning point meeting. Okay, at this point,
I don't agree with with a lot of that. I think that the problems didn't start overnight, and you can't change them overnight. You can't just write something up and then, I don't know if he's being hyperbolic here, but you can't just write something up, say something, pass some law, and expect things to change overnight. It's going to take years. You're going to have to change the environment, which is slowly going to have to change people's minds. I don't know why CGA is going down this rabbit hole there.
today we have men that are in dire need of help.
I agree.
They're going through unsettling situations and divorces. This is who I speak to, and you keep telling me obvious answers about propaganda and changing this and going to church. This sounds great on paper, but that doesn't happen today. You don't start that today. Can you give me one solution you got that starts today, Mr. I got all the solutions? We can start today.
Yeah. If you assist with funding MRA groups today, who are trying to legislate and get legislation passed today to create preventative measures for those men today. Now, if you ask me, can you do anything about a man who might be willing to blow his head off right this second because he's already going through the events of divorce, which I had nothing to do with, wasn't there for, could never do anything about?
Nobody can do anything
prevent?
about it.
Of course, nobody can. But that's built
Even
into
your righteous ecclesiastic reverend from the pulpit.
Yes, but it's built into the question. What you're building.
He's throwing some straw men out here. This is not arguing in good faith. You know, you can't do anything about someone who's going through a divorce or who's doing something. There's no prescription, no policy, no law, no thing that can be instituted today that would mitigate this and bring the divorce rates from 30-40%, whatever to discuss yesterday, down to 0 or 10%, or to bring the suicide rates of men down from whatever it is to some quote unquote livable factor or number. There's nothing you can say about that. That's a disingenuous argument.
Into the question is probably the worst framing ever. Andrew, if somebody right this second is willing to do something bad, can you stop them?
Here it comes. Look at the
I don't
scenario.
understand.
But your scenario is to change MRA funding when women outvote men 60 to 40%, and you have women lobbyist groups and 0 men lobby groups. That's what you're telling me.
Really
We're going to change to fund MRA groups.
Congress makes the law, not the voter, sir.
When
Congress
MRAs are on some terror lists. Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
you're telling me that they're going to start just switching funding. We're just going to switch funding over here to a terrorist organization, according to some of these websites.
Yeah, I would say
this is just a pie in the sky. All your solutions are completely
not
pie
only
in the
is
sky.
it not pie in the sky, but I'll give you an example.
The least possible situation.
Well, I'll give you an example of where it's already happened. So I would argue that the traditional churches are MRAs, that they are men's rights advocacy groups, and that's where traditional masculinity is mostly found today, where men are even allowed to be masculine. Hang on. Let me finish my point. And it is the case that those MRAs, in this case, the traditional churches, already got abortion rolled back, didn't they? They're already moving these things back. They're already at the forefront of fighting degeneracy. They are also the ones who are at the charitable forefront of helping those same veterans who are blowing their heads off when the government doesn't even pay any attention to them. When by the time the government was all done doing any of these reforms when it came to veterans associations, it was those pesky old traditional churches that from Sky Daddy that you hate so much. They were the ones on the forefront who were actually assisting those people and not doing that. While you asked me this question, Andrew, what can you do right this second for a guy who's going to blow his head off? Well, probably nothing. But neither can you.
Of course
but
not.
at least we can do something about that not happening to others.
Okay, so that's very easy to accomplish in red states. And red states overwhelmingly were the states that got those things passed.
Yeah.
They were already going to get it passed without the interaction of these so-called righteous individuals.
That was done at the federal level,
now
not
let's
the state level.
Yeah, through Donald Trump.
Yeah, the federal level.
Now watch this.
It has nothing to do with
California, Nevada, these are all states that you can easily drive to and get it done because they're red
Which is why
or
we need
they're
a
blue
federal
states.
ban, yeah.
And at that particular point, are we going to get a federal ban? Do
Yeah,
you
we
believe
very
have it?
possibly could, yeah.
Possible.
It looks good. It looks
Looks good, but we don't have it today. All right, so we don't.
Are you serious about that? Now I got to look this up now, Captain. Is that real? Did he? Well, at least he's not a racist, right? I guess.
We're not again. We don't have it.
So what do you want to do?
More than likely,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. You said it's possible, and I say more than possible. You're not going to get it. All right. So at that point,
That's what
now
they
you
said
have
about
an
Roe
issue.
v. Wade, and they were wrong.
They're wrong today. They're wrong. Possibly, we possibly might get it, but California they're not doing it. I can drive to California
there's
right
a
now.
federal ban,
When
they
there's a
can't
woman I
stop
can
it.
drive, and I could take a woman to Nevada.
Yeah,
You
but
can
it's
take her
already
to many
decreasing the
places right
rates. It's already working. Like, what are you talking about? It's already effective.
All it does is just send women to another place.
And
They're
it
gonna find
reduces the amount of abortions.
It reduces it so
significantly.
Now we're not. That's all we're talking about. Reducing it. We're
Yeah.
talking about now the unsettling experiences.
So do nothing?
We're doing something.
Yeah.
We're doing something. I'm informing
Yeah.
people. I'm informing people. I'm giving people the information.
To do what?
And you're telling me
What do you
a
want to
guy
do?
solution that might take
Tell me
forever.
what men should do.
I'm telling you what they're
What?
doing. All right. At this particular point, this
Yeah.
is the question that you've been wanting to ask me. All right. I put out a book called 52 Things That Men Should Do Prior to Considering Marriage.
Okay.
What it does is take it through a step-by-step approach of what they need to look out for just to detect.
What does that
Hold
do
on for a
right
second. Hold on for a
now?
second. Just to detect this man's considering. I've had plenty of men that said they were considering marriage. They found the red flags because of my book, and they stopped getting married to a woman that eventually they saw would have been bad for them. That would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm doing something very positive. Now watch this.
This is
you
great.
mitigate the red flags. You allow
Mitigate the
men to
risk.
understand what the process of marriage is.
Mitigating the risk.
Then you're going into possibly telling them what the state is involved in, how your children are affected, parental alienation, the odds of self-deletion, and so forth and so on. So that's an
I want to make sure I got this right.
opportunity for men to learn.
So I want to get this right.
You're telling me a
What
pie
you're
in the sky
doing-
possibility of changing
Yeah,
laws
so what you're
when women
doing-
outvote men 60 to 40%.
Yeah, so you wrote, it doesn't, dude, you don't even understand the political process and how it works. Voting itself, when you're talking about
lobby groups.
Yeah, you're
What
talking about
men's
lobby groups and
What men lobby
NGOs.
groups? What male lobby groups do they
the
have?
traditional churches.
Okay, we're back to church again.
They're the ones
Okay,
who
we're
do all
back-
the lobbying on behalf of men.
They're doing it on behalf of the men that follow.
I don't know why CGA is like gnawing not at a bone here. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, you're debating a guy who comes from a religious perspective, and you don't want him to talk about his religious perspective. I mean, if you're going to debate with me, right, and I come from a law enforcement background, you're like, you can't talk about law enforcement. What? I mean, this is my perspective, right? I also came from church. Those are my perspectives. So you challenge a guy about marriage. You got to know that he's going to come from this perspective. And now what is he saying here? That they're only advocating for the men in their own church. I don't think that they're doing that. I think that's, again, a false argument.
And how it works. Voting.
Captain Cabbage, love the name there. If you can find that for me, I looked it up. I can't find it. So I'm not doubting you. I just, if you have that, if you send me the link, maybe put it in the chat or email it to me. I'd appreciate that. Wherever you got it from. I looked it up. I couldn't find anything about it. I kept coming to Woodrow Wilson and a bunch of other different people. So
itself, when you're talking about
lobby groups.
Yeah, you're
What
talking about
men's
lobby groups and
What men lobby
NGOs.
groups? What male lobby groups do they
The
have?
traditional churches.
Okay, we're back to church again.
They're the ones
Okay,
who do
we're
all the
back-
lobbying on behalf of men.
They're doing it on behalf of the men that follow them. That's not on
It's
behalf
for
of
all men. This abortion ban helps all men,
It
not some. Their charities to men who are going to kill themselves helps all men, not some.
It doesn't help all men in that situation.
Yes,
it helps the
it
men.
helps.
Because listen,
Yes, it
I'm going
does.
to tell you where it doesn't. There might be a woman considering getting an abortion, and he wants to keep the kid. He has no mitigating risk.
They're the only ones trying to change that.
Is that who is?
The traditional
You're
churches.
saying the traditional churches.
Yes.
All right. At that point, that doesn't help him.
Yes, it does help him.
So you're saying at that point, it's only the traditional church when you have hundreds of female lobbyist groups and you have them out.
They're the ones
men.
combating those
And
female
that's it.
lobbying groups.
And
Yeah.
the answer is to create more male lobby groups. If that's the point, I mean, that has been a critique of the quote unquote manosphere, is that there's a lot of microphones a lot of microphones, but no action. That has been a critique. It's been a critique, one that we got to take seriously. There have been a few guys writing books. I guess CGA wrote a book. A couple other people have written books. Some people have put out documentaries. But you got to get politically active, and that's where it's going to come from. And so that's where we got to learn from the ladies. You got to get politically motivated and politically active if you want to change a lot of the things that are going wrong, right? Some of the things we can look to is 50-50 custody, DNA, mandatory DNA at birth. So those are some wins, I guess, quote unquote, for the manosphere. But there's still a lot more work to be done. And I guess Andrew is advocating for that in his own way. But that has been a critique of the manosphere, that they have not been doing enough politically.
That's it. How are they doing? Only the red
They're
states.
doing great.
Only the red
No,
states.
at the federal level, they're doing great. You're wrong.
You can still go to other states to get it done.
Yes, but we've still managed to mitigate it even in those states. It's a war. It's a political war. That's how it works. And not only that, let's point this out. Your whole solution here, I wrote a book to help mitigate future events. Oh, great. Andrew, what are you trying to do? Help mitigate future events.
Exactly.
Oh, right now, right this second, what can I do to help? Andrew says, right this second, if guy has a 357 in his mouth, he's going to pull the trigger, can't do anything. You're totally right, but neither can you by your own admission.
Correct.
So there we go there. When we're looking at the future, though, and I say, let's do all of these different prescriptions, which we can actually politically accomplish and move towards, you say, that's all fucking pie in the sky, blah, 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 blah. I ask, well, what can you do as far as future prescriptions?
And
You
I
say,
told them-
blacks are fucked, and I have absolutely no prescriptions for it.
No,
Sorry,
actually, I
guys.
wrote a book, 52 things that men could consider
To
prior
mitigate
marriage.
divorce risk. The
So
same thing I'm
find
trying
out
to do.
if they're marrying the right woman. So you're just
Mitigating
mad,
divorce risk.
that I have one solution, you have another, and we don't
Mine's
agree with
better.
it. That's what you believe. I think yours is pie in the sky. So that's just
I don't
your
see
own
how it could
belief
be pie in
system.
the sky.
When
It's
not
affecting
working,
way
you're
more men
asking-
than your
you're
book is.
No, my book actually has 15+ thousand. You have how
So?
many? Hold on. You have how many? You have how many ecclesiastic marriages that your church enforced marriages? You can't even give me
Nobody
a number.
ever proposed
You couldn't
that.
even
You're
give me a
such a
number.
liar.
You couldn't
It's
even give me a
such a
number.
liar.
You said that. Give me a
Nobody
number.
said that
Okay.
the pastors are going to go in the bedroom and enforce anything.
Okay, social pressure.
Stop lying.
On your social
Just
pressure.
Stop lying,
Hey, listen,
dude.
where's your social pressure? How many people do you have in your ecclesiastic marriages? How many people got married under that?
Millions.
Please give me a number.
Millions of
Show
people
me a
have an
number. Go ahead.
ecclesiastical
Can you type
authority.
it up?
That's
Go ahead and type it up.
People have an ecclesiastical marriage. They may have a
No,
state cert also.
under your scenario.
What do you want me to type?
We don't.
How many?
We don't know.
know.
We don't know exactly.
But you're sneezing at my number, but you don't know at
We
all.
know for
hey,
sure
listen, there's a lot
that
you don't
even
know.
if it was
There's
the
a
case
lot
that you
don't know.
never adopted the state,
But you don't have any number.
Even if it's the
Give me-
case, hang on.
What's
hang
the
on,
number?
Hang on. Even if it's the case that all they ever did was get a state marriage certificate and never even follow that portion of what I'm saying, right? The number is still lower by the state's own numbers. It's still lower in
Can you
traditional
give me
churches.
a number of your marriages that you're proposing that we're all going to follow?
We don't
so
know.
they
We don't
can
have
mitigate?
polls
You
on it
don't
yet.
have a number.
Yeah, we don't know for sure.
I would venture to say it's very little, under 100.
Sure.
All
So
right.
what?
So now we got.
No, it's not under 100.
Okay. Certainly
No.
under 100.
No, it's not.
All right. I
Well,
don't hear
people-
anybody talking about it other than you.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not around traditional
Okay.
churches by your own admission. But yeah, there's
Traditional
people who have crowning ceremonies and get married
Traditional
by
churches-
churches who don't get a state cert.
Traditional churches.
In fact, there might be.
Oh, okay. So there are people that Andrew knows of who are getting marriages in the spiritual sense without state sanctions. Let me play that again here for all the doubters and haters out here.
to say it's very little, under 100.
Sure.
All
So
right.
what?
So now we got.
No, it's not under 100.
Okay. Certainly
No.
under 100.
No, it's not.
All right. I
Well,
don't hear
people-
anybody talking about it other than you.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not around traditional
Okay.
churches by your own admission. But yeah, there's
Traditional
people who have crowning ceremonies and get married by
Traditional
churches who don't get a state cert.
Traditional churches.
In fact, there might be data on that. You should look.
please look it up.
There might be
under your
actually.
scenario.
Yeah, under my scenario. But the thing is that
Ecclesiastic
even if we
marriages under
grant,
here.
even if we were
So
to
we got
grant,
125
even
marriages.
if we were to grant it,
Yes.
still from the state's own admission, the divorce rate's still significantly lower for a reason.
20 to 30%. Okay, so
That's
it's
huge.
still lower. It is nice.
Significantly
It would be
lower.
nice. You still have men under unsettling divorce conditions. You still have men under state-funded divorce. You still have men under child support. You still have men under parental alienation. You still have sexist marriages.
2 out of
you
10.
haven't accomplished most of these
2
things.
out of 10.
2 out of 10 what?
That would be 2 out of 10. It's 20%, right? It's 2 out of 10 of those marriages, as opposed to your system.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, in your
5
system,
out of 10.
In your system, it's much higher.
It's the system that exists.
No, it's not.
But you're
Listen.
telling me 150 marriages. This is
No.
all of these scenarios. And I have to be honest with you. This wasn't much of a debate.
Yeah, I know,
because
you
much
lost
of your,
every
no,
point.
listen. Much of your scenarios were make believe. To
Oh,
be
okay,
honest
they're all
with you,
make-believe.
they were pretty make believe. You would have to have an extremely considerable movement to be able to accomplish them.
Like
Which
millions
doesn't-
of
which mean
people?
You would have to have millions of people to do.
Can you pull
exactly
up how
what
many
you're-
Catholic and
No, no,
Orthodox
no,
are in the
no,
United
no,
States?
listen.
It's my turn to ask. I can ask him to
Please
pull
do,
the
please
stats.
do. But that's not the number
How-
I'm looking
how many?
for. That's
Yeah,
not the
that is
number
the
I'm
number
looking
we're
for.
looking for.
We're looking for ecclesiastic marriages under your scenario.
No, listen. Even
That's
if it
the
were
only
the
way
case,
it works for
even
you.
if it were the case, do you agree with me that if you take the state out of marriage, that is going to assist in the reduction of
We
divorce?
can't take the state out of marriage.
Why not?
That's what you're telling me. You
Yeah,
can't
why
tell me
can't
how
you?
many people have done it.
Yeah, but why can't you do it?
Because no fault divorce, a woman can go into divorce you, even if because you're not under her control. The
How, if you're not
ecclesiastics are under
married
the
to her?
authority.
By the states, you're not married. How can she take you to divorce court? Can you explain that to me?
I asked you this earlier. Have you been through a divorce?
It doesn't matter.
That's
Answer
a
the
yes.
question.
That's a yes. So you've been through a divorce.
Why does that matter?
Right,
What is it pertinent to the
because
debate?
this is why. Can I finish? You've been telling me I'm cutting you off. You won't let me finish.
Bro, I want
At
an
this
answer to my
see,
question.
There we go again.
Can you answer my question?
I mean, I can play the game you're playing.
You just won't answer questions.
Jeez. All right, listen. I mean, I thought you were a tough guy. Listen, under this scenario,
this guy just can't stop throwing shots. He won't answer questions. He's cutting people off, telling you things won't matter, things won't work. I don't see how people are saying he won this debate. I mean, he wanted being obnoxious, in my opinion. And I was going to reach out to him, see if I'm going to have him on. So I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
A marriage, even if it's ceremonial, religious, it doesn't matter if she files for the divorce. You will still be going in court to fight that.
How
I don't
would
care.
you file for divorce if you're not married by the state, dude?
Listen,
Can you answer my question?
You're completely missing this. This is what tells me you haven't been through one. Have you talked to a divorce attorney? A woman can file. You have to respond and provide evidence that you were not married. Now, you and your common law, you living with your kids, it's going to be difficult. I'm trying to give you some information.
That's common law marriage.
Okay.
That's different. In some states, there is no common law marriage. So
that's
just
not
answer,
common law marriage.
So just answer
Listen,
one. Okay.
California doesn't even have common law, and that exists. It could be ceremonial. You could get married in Fiji. It doesn't matter. As soon as you get back here, if you practice marriage, the whole institution, at that particular point, if she files, you, sir, will have to respond to that suit.
Yeah.
If you
I mean, I don't think the CJA is wrong in that particular point. And we've gone through that yesterday, and I've talked about this in other shows. That is something to be considered, and no lawyer really has the answer to that. It's going to be in those cases, it's case by case scenario, and the judge has to determine whether you've lived this particular way or not. That's what the judge is looking at. Make sure you hit the like button, y'all.
do, I would hope and pray that the judge, not God, grant you your wish. At that point, your argument fails because you then would have to say, my ecclesiastic reverend on the little house on the prairie granted this marriage, but it doesn't count under the state.
I just want to make
she
sure
can do this, and you have to respond.
Can you
to
help
it.
me with this? Because I
I'm
am
helping you a
actually
lot.
confused. So let's say a woman and a man went out to a field and declared
We
themselves
got a
married.
scenario. Let's say if
Let's say if a
that's the
man
one.
went out to a field with a woman and declared that they're married.
Correct.
You're saying she can still go to a divorce court and divorce him.
She can file for the divorce. You
How?
have to respond. You
Yeah,
have
with
to
what?
respond.
Yeah, what does that mean,
You're-
though? That doesn't mean
Again,
anything.
I'm informing you.
What are you
What does
talking
that
about?
mean? This is how a lawsuit works.
Okay.
She's
A
a petitioner.
lawsuit.
She
Okay.
files. She says, we walked on coals. We went outside.
Yeah.
This was a union. I consider it a marriage. Everybody knows and addresses us as a marriage.
Yeah.
This is in non-common law states. We receive mail at this place. We've been living under the same roof for this many years. You will have to respond to these allegations. Now, you're going to have to say on your petition, this is not true.
Your response.
We have an ecclesiastic marriage and a prenup under
Your response. He meant to say your response. She's the petitioner. You have to respond and say, we never got married. He's right about that.
God, and we lived together, but we weren't married. That's a response to the lawsuit, and then you proceed to trial and a hearing.
Is this a lawsuit or a divorce?
Divorce is a lawsuit.
Okay, so I'm
Divorce
curious.
is a lawsuit.
Can you look this up?
Is
Can
divorce
you
a
file for divorce without ever getting married?
Oh my goodness, you are slow. You can file a lawsuit for anything.
So then it's
So
not a
anybody
divorce.
can sue you for anything.
Okay,
Okay.
but-
So if you go into there and she
So they're just
says that-
suing you?
Yes, it's
Okay,
a
but
lawsuit.
that's not a divorce. Come on,
says-
dude.
It's a lawsuit.
Can we pull this up? Can you file for a divorce without getting married? Divorce.
Andrew's actually kind of looking for this. He's actually kind of lost it. He really should understand how divorces work and that they are actual lawsuits. You are being sued for a divorce. Divorce requires a legal marriage. Divorce is a legal process and a legally recognized marriage. If you never obtained a marriage license and your marriage was never registered or solemnized, according to state law, the courts have no marriage to dissolve legally. There is nothing to divorce. But you can still be, the point is you can still be sued and you will have to say, I was never legally married. There's no marriage certificate. There's no such and such. But again, if she proves that you lived together, got mail, we wore rings, he introduced me as his wife, we have children, all the other accoutrements of being married, it may be a problem depending on the judge, depending on how the laws are written in that particular place, particularly if there are kids involved, because they want to make sure that somebody's attached to child support and somebody's going to take care of these kids. That's where it gets really hairy at. And if there's some public assets, you got 401ks, you got some money in the bank, you got stocks, you got bonds, you got there's a home involved where people are going to live. They're not just being the courts, and not just going to kick somebody out. So you got some assets, some skin in the game, it's going to be hard to walk away from that.
Divorce is a legal process that ends in legally recognized marriage.
If you never obtained a marriage license and your marriage was never registered, summarized according to state law, the courts have no marriage to dissolve. You're full of shit.
Hold on for a second.
Religious or spiritual ceremony. If you had a religious only ceremony, for example, married in a church or mosque, but never had a civil marriage license, the state usually does not recognize that union. You're still going to have to answer for it and say, this is what we did. But that's CGA's point, is that you have to answer and give a response and say, this is how we were living. This comes from ChatGPT, which you got to be careful of. I tell my students this all the time. ChatGPT is not always correct. It's 50 states in the union. It's going to be, it's going to be a case-by-case scenario.
They can, you're full of shit.
Listen,
they can just sue you for whatever.
You said they have no marriage to the.
Yeah, you're saying that they're just going to sue you.
No. You still
they can just sue you for whatever.
You said that.
If you never obtained a marriage license, your marriage will never register. Something like that. Okay. You need to dissolve the union. For example, a Catholic annulment through the church can end a religious marriage, but that's separate from the civil divorce law. However, if you thought you were legally married, you might be able to seek a putative marriage.
They have no
declaration explained below. Common law marriage.
Yeah, you're saying that they're just going to sue you.
No.
Yeah. Got to be careful with that. Got to be careful.
You still have to. You still have to respond to the lawsuit.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to the divorce court.
You do.
No, you
don't.
don't.
You file the response.
No,
that's
that's not a divorce court.
That is the divorce.
No,
court.
it's not. It's a
that
court. It's the circuit court or some shit, not the divorce court.
Listen, this is.
You got caught in 4K. You're full of shit.
That's ChatGPT. In this situation here, we can bring a lawyer in to resolve this and say, can she file for a divorce? You're saying what the outcome is. Hold on for a second. You're saying the outcome, they can't legally enforce it. That's what you hope the outcome is. You hope the outcome is. You still have to respond.
All you're saying is that a woman can sue you for anything.
Correct.
Yeah, but that's not the same as filing for divorce
through
the divorce courts.
That's where they would file it.
No, they can't. No, they're not filing it in the divorce court.
My gosh. All right, that's where they would file it. In the divorce court.
They would file a lawsuit.
No, they would file it in the family court. Trust me. Now, here's
the family court's different, though.
That's the divorce court.
Wait a second.
Family court is the divorce court.
Wouldn't you have to do that under specific criteria for family court, like a kid's involved or something? You can just
correct. So in the scenario, hold on for a second.
That's not the same as divorce proceedings. This is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Listen. The family court is what people call the divorce court. There's no building that says divorce court. You understand that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you have a woman with children.
Yeah.
That you say you're not married to. If she files, you still have to go under family court jurisdiction. You still have to respond
because there's children. Yes,
because there's children. At that point, my point is made. She has filed. They may say the divorce doesn't count.
Yeah,
but now how do we deal with these children?
Yeah, but that was
children. That is a part of marriage. Did you not have children with the woman?
Come on, dude. So if you're not,
that is a part of marriage.
As long as you don't have children, then they can't do that.
Correct. That's what you're saying. But you're saying
I'm actually asking.
You're saying they're going to have children, correct?
Yes.
You're going to go to family court.
Yes, you could go to family court.
If she files for the divorce.
Not for divorce. They could go for like motions for support or all sorts of things. That's not
the family court.
Yeah.
When we talk about what men deal with when they deal with marriage and the result is a divorce, one of the things they deal with is child support, also domestic violence, which falls under the family court. So you cannot be married.
You have a problem here with this.
Listen,
so I agree.
I agree
that
court.
If you have children, that could go through the family court system. Nobody ever disputed that, though.
So you're still dealing with issues,
but hang on. But that's the different one. That's different than filing for divorce. You can't file for divorce. You're never married. That's
now
one.
You're going to child support.
And hang on. Two. The second problem here is the reason that men usually lose their custody when it comes to divorce and divorce court is because women plot. They plot escape hatches. So what they do is they go, okay.
Of course they do.
Look. I'm going to take 2 years, make sure that you're fucking destitute on the way out, and then I'm filing in divorce court.
Correct.
You're going to get hit over the head from what happens in divorce court.
Absolutely.
Whole different ballgame, though. If it's the case that you have children with a woman and she goes and she files for custody, you're actually in a much better position to get custody at that point than if it was the case that you were married through the state, dude. Much better position.
We don't know that.
No, 100% that's the case.
You don't know that. You're guessing. Can you give me some data on that one? They don't that one. Okay, go ahead and look it up. But we don't know that.
Yeah, it is similar to a subpoena. You have to answer. So you have to answer. You've been summoned to court, and so there's at least 3 different courts for people who don't know. Right? There's the criminal court where you get arrested. That's where you got to answer those charges. There's family court, obviously, where they deal with family items, child support, divorce, other type of familial custody arrangements, and then there's the other court where they hash out somebody dies. It's escaping me the exact terminology, or if somebody dies and you got to go to court to see where the assets go and all that kind of stuff, right? What is the name of that court? Anyway, so those are the 3 type of courts. there may be another one too. Right? There's appellate courts and all this. So those are the three types. But where you would handle, if she's going to try to get some type of financial assets from you while you're alive and you were living together, and she wants to divide up some type of property or whatever, that is, family court is going to deal with that. It may get kicked out, to CGA's point. It may get kicked out. They may not entertain it and say, listen, you don't have any standing in this case because you never got a civil certificate from the state. That's true. However, that's where she would file out. She's not going to go to criminal court and say, I need some money from this guy, or I need half of his 401k, or he's got to divide his house with me. That's not where that's going to take place at. So CGA is actually right about that.
Yes, if it's the case, hang on. If it's the case,
if you're not legally married,
men who fight for custody,
correct?
Right?
Yes, that's correct.
But they're in a better position to fight for custody if they're not going through the divorce court. If they're only getting motions for child support or
well, we
child
know.
custody.
Actually, I'll tell you something. If you are not married to them, you actually fare a little bit worse. If you're not legally married, that's true. If you're not legally married to, let's just take a baby mom, baby dad situation. Yeah. If he's not legally married to them, they typically fare a little bit worse.
Yes.
in custody cases.
I just said that.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're still faring worse. If they're married,
better. Right?
If they're not married.
Yes. They'd be faring better.
No, they would actually fare worse.
How?
Well, ask any guy that's been in court. We can look at this. When they're not legally married to a woman, they go through a custody battle.
Yeah.
When they're legally married, they do better getting better custody.
Yes, men get better custody.
When
so that would be a better outcome.
If they're not legally married, typically they fare worse getting custody.
Why?
Because they're not married to the woman. This is typically, it just depends on jurisdiction.
It's because of the unplanned nature of it.
Correct. Exactly. But if it's planned, we don't know.
No, we do know.
The judge doesn't know.
Hang on.
How do they know?
We do.
So now you're saying you're going in there to use that we're not legally married, but we're married.
Here's how we can logically, I think I can actually
Probate court is one I couldn't think about. I had to look it up. Probate court. So when somebody dies or something like that and they want to divide up assets and there's no will, then you go to probate court. So that would be different from family court, different from criminal court. Those are the three types of court I was thinking about. Disputing of wills, asset distribution, things like that. Guardianship, conservatorship. Maybe you got a family member who is going through dementia or something like that. You want to be able to take over their finances and all that. You go to probate court. That's what I couldn't think of. The terminology.
We demonstrate this, and I think you'll agree. Okay, so the reason that men tend to fare bad in custody disputes and in divorces is because it's unexpected. So usually they're getting hit with it and it's unexpected. Even if it should be expected, because it's unexpected, they have time to plot, they have time to plan, this kind of thing,
domestic violence.
And so they can hit them with it.
Right.
That's normally
what happens.
Yeah, that's normally.
You can't mitigate that. Or are you suggesting you
can? You can mitigate. You can mitigate it. Here's how you can mitigate it. If you're in a church, you have
52 things. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you have the ecclesiology, the ecclesiastic community, the community actually supports you when you're going through these problems.
They're not going to be in court with you.
No, they actually help you with funding. They help you with everything.
They're not going to be in court with you. They're not going to be.
They don't need to go to court with you. So money is what talks, man, and bullshit walks.
Exactly, I agree with that. That I can agree with.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be able to fund.
Well,
that
they do all the time.
Listen,
they assist with custody agreements all the time.
These small marriages, I would love to see these out. They should do a documentary on them.
They do.
All right, so we can.
We do have stats on this.
Most people aren't under these, so we can say that's clearly the case.
But
in those situations here, under those situations, you have men that are not under this veil of, I don't know what it is, okay, that do fare worse when they're not married. Okay, that's typically what's going to happen.
Because the childbirth itself is unplanned. But if they're with a woman long term as a partner, they actually do better.
Absolutely, and I was one of those.
Even if they're not
married. I was
married.
one of those.
Even if they're not married.
Typically,
yes.
That's. But sometimes
so it's still
not
better
the
outcomes. You're just talking about the unplanned nature.
Not necessarily.
I mean, mostly
because there's a lot of factors here. I mean, we can make things black and white. The guy doesn't have the ability to maintain the custody. He lives in another city.
Because
there's
some
so many other factors.
Because I knocked her up. That's different than I was with her for a couple of years.
They were in a relationship. All right.
Yeah, but knocking her up usually happens early.
It could. It typically does.
Because
that's what I meant. And at that point, now they were raising the kid for 2 or 3 years. They were together.
But this goes to my point.
But it also goes to my point. In this situation here, right here, we have a lot of things that we like to make black or white and easily solve.
No, it's all nuanced. I agree.
Okay, very much nuanced. Yeah. At that point, then you're just telling us, I'll just throw this aspect of religion on top of it and it'll fix it. Or it'll mitigate. It'll mitigate. It doesn't eliminate it. It just makes it less. You can't eliminate it.
But
it makes it less likely, but they're still going to go through it. Once they go through it, what do you do?
But when you said a marriage,
he's really moving the goalpost a lot there. Neither system, whether you take CGA's more secular approach or the book, whatever he wrote, 52 means to whatever mitigate a divorce, you're never going to mitigate it. Andrew's talking or eliminate it. You can reduce its numbers and reduces its effectiveness. And that's all Andrew is arguing for. CGA is like, don't do it at all. Right? I mean, I don't even think he advocates for divorce at all, for marriage at all. CGA
was a great institution, right?
It
Did that
was.
eliminate all divorce?
It was very low.
Well, right.
7 to
So it's
10%.
just, you're only
Like,
talking
it
about
was actually
mitigation.
lower.
You're only talking about
It was
mitigation.
actually lower than the percentages that you're showing me.
I agree.
Way lower.
I agree.
Way lower.
But you're still talking about mitigation.
But we're also talking about white people were least likely to get married under these scenarios too.
Yeah, but we're still talking about mitigation.
Exactly.
And
And
so
so at
if
that
you
point-
say it's great and it's mitigating, and
again, why did he bring up white people? I don't know why he keeps throwing that in there. I don't understand that. But I don't think that Andrew has said anything about this only works for white churches or for tradition. He said traditional churches. That could, I mean, does he mean that when he says traditional? Does he mean white Protestant? I don't think he's saying that. I'm not hearing him say that. So why is CGA keep throwing that in there?
okay, I want to move towards mitigation. We can never eliminate it. You can't hold that against me.
I can't, and you can't hold it against me for telling men to avoid the situation, especially since, and I'll add this on, especially since we can know statistically women are getting married at an older age. That is increasingly high. We can look at 40 years ago, it was 20 years old. We can look at today, it's roughly around 28 and 30.
But there's some nuance there too.
There's a lot of
You're probably right about that, October. You're probably right about that.
nuance
Well, hang
there.
on. There's
And
a
hold on
big
for a second,
one.
but I
Okay,
was
go ahead.
completing the
Go
point
ahead, go
here.
ahead.
Okay. At that point, you're seeing a lot of women choosing to not marry. You're also seeing a lot of men choosing to not marry those women that are older.
Yeah.
So how do you get those people to have an ecclesiastic marriage?
I'll help you.
When you're telling them, these people are saying, I'm not marrying that woman.
Yep.
She's a stepmom, or no, she's a single mom.
Yep, I
She's
understand.
older.
Yep.
She's past her prime. How are you getting that marriage rate up?
This is the
with
best.
the ecclesiastic
So I
marriage?
think that's a great question. It's one
Other
that
than saying that they got to be virgins.
and it's
That's
one
not
that
gonna
I
work.
need, and it's one that I do need to answer to. So here's the answer to this. The reason that women are getting married older is because they're deferring their childbearing years for college. That's why.
That's obvious. Okay.
I mean, literally, that's
Sure.
the only reason. And one of
we
the
know
prime
this.
reasons that the birth rate is collapsing is because they're having children older because they defer those childbearing years.
Like I said,
for later
that's
in
not
life.
fruitful and multiply.
So,
That's just adding.
so we can look at this and we can, well, it is still multiplying.
Okay,
but
all right,
anyway,
all right, yeah.
The point is when we're talking about, we go back to this whole propaganda thing, right?
You're not going to get a disagreement on this.
Hang on. The
Okay?
idea is, should we have propaganda that says, women, you go to school, we'll give you student loans, right? We'll back the entire thing for free, and we promise you a lucrative STEM career, right? When
Correct.
the opposition is actually true. Or do we run campaigns that say, no STEM funding, you got to pay for your own fucking college, okay? Or you can choose the more traditional path.
How
which-
likely is this to happen?
It's actually pretty likely. If you look at the idea of STEM fund or funding for college, right? The idea of student loans and things like this, women are already trying to check out in the worst way because they can't have kids later in life.
But they're not getting married though. They're not
They
turning
do.
that
They do.
in.
They
They're
just
not
do
turning
that.
that
They
in to
do
get married.
college first, and this is, by the way, where body count comes from. The big body counts are coming because they spend all this time in college getting fucked.
Very
right?
obviously.
And
This
so,
is
and
obvious.
so-
Yes.
And then afterwards, right, they get their little lucrative career, and then they want to settle down.
They find us.
But it seems to me very obvious that if you wanted to do something about this, you would want to create the incentive for women to not go to college and instead use their childbearing years, get married, because that's what we always did.
I've actually created this scenario before, and it's very opposed to where society's going. Society's really not showing that they're showing trends of this. You might
it
have the
is.
little spatters here and there, but if you have a woman that
I don't understand what he means by that. Did he create this scenario? Did he set up an experiment, a scientific experiment? I don't know what he means by that.
says, okay, I can't afford to go to college, she becomes a Walmart
Well, here's
clerk.
why- here's
Hold on for
why-
a second. She
okay,
becomes a
go
Walmart clerk, an assistant manager. I'm looking at those particular demographics. They're not jumping into marriages. All right, maybe in Tuscaloosa,
Yeah.
Alabama, they're still out here ho-hopping. All right,
But
they're
here-
still finding a variety
But
of
here's
ways to
why.
live. Yeah.
So women are getting more college degrees than men because men have a viable option for making income, which is easy.
Correct.
I mean, it's actually harder,
It's harder.
but it's easy and for them.
We can survive.
And the idea is, if you're a tradesman, you're gonna make a lot of money. Okay, especially in modernity because there's an incompetency crisis in the United States.
Absolutely.
So if you're good at what you do, you're gonna make a lot of money.
And
That's just it.
women are less
and
likely
even
to
if
go in
you're
those
bad at it, you'll make a lot of money. But the college thing,
I was going
created-
to say, even if you're bad at it, you can be a subpar carpenter or electrician or whatever and still make some good money.
a situation we were not aware was going to happen, even though I could easily have predicted it, which is oversaturation. Women only go for a couple things, and they're sociological related mostly. They're not
Nursing.
really for STEM fields, and that's who's hiring is the big STEM fields. Everything else oversaturated. That's why women end up in government NGOs and government think tanks and
Correct.
psychologists, because the overage has to go somewhere. But that's saturated too. So you're seeing actually a trend begin to emerge of that trending down because of oversaturation. So if that's the case, these women don't want to go work at Walmart as the assistant manager, right? And if you had said propaganda plan, and the propaganda plan is simple enough, the idea here is just don't defer, your childbearing years for college. Instead, we'll help you with incentives so that you have children younger and you get married younger. You will almost eliminate this entire problem. And yes, not only is it viable, not only is it viable, but we should be moving towards that. This idea that you shouldn't get married rather than just create the conditions for which marriage is great is exactly what we should be doing.
And under those conditions, it would make sense because you're getting women that can multiply, that can
but
be.
It's only the churches that can get this done.
No, not really. But in this situation here, I agree. I agree with that scenario. I proposed that many years ago. However, you're going to be hard pressed for women to actually pick that. Although they're not going to college, they're trending down in college. They're probably not going to complete one of these liberal arts degrees. What you're probably going to see them do, they're still going to Coachella. They're still selling coochie. They're out here being sugar babies. They're going to OnlyFans.
Same problem with oversaturation.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll get oversaturated. Now you kick the can down the road to what the next thing is. I don't see the women seeing that college is prohibitive to them jumping into traditional marriages. I don't see that.
But that was the same argument which made in the 90s to men, that they would not, that the trades are going by the wayside and they all needed to get a college degree, when in fact the opposite ended up happening. Now they're all moving towards trades in lieu of the college degree because of oversaturation. Right. There's no reason for us to believe that if it's the case that women have the option and the propaganda behind it for them to get married at a younger age, right? Defer that with incentives. We can give all sorts of incentives for
would
this.
You give for this?
Man, first of all, you can give tax exemptions, for instance. You could say
these women don't pay taxes even when they make millions.
Yeah, but the thing that's
they don't catch up to them, but they don't pay the taxes.
Well, they do have to pay property tax on the houses they get from their husbands when they divorce them. So
if they get married, then
the thing is what you could do is in Poland.
That wasn't a good answer. I think what you can do to incentivize younger. I think one thing that they should stop doing, let me put it this way, one thing they should stop doing is if there is an overage in certain fields, stop subsidizing those fields. Stop giving college education for those fields. For example, so you can't take out student loans. We have enough psychologists. Let's just say that. We have enough psychologists. We have enough lawyers. So with this student loan, you can't study for psychology, or you can't study the law. You got to study something else. Or only STEM programs. Anybody can enter it, male, female, doesn't matter. But this is what you would base. This is what we would base our needs on. Needs of the community, needs of the nation. Where are the jobs going to be in 10 years? What are the job number projections in 10 years? And that's what we ought to be funding. That is one thing that I think that they should have done a long time ago.
Did this, and they had a pretty good degree of success, up almost 0.5%, moving and trending towards almost 1%, which is huge in such a short amount of time. They gave tax exemption, and you can pull this up if you want. They gave tax exemption if you had more than X number of children. I think it was 3 for life. Tax exempt for life. Yes. Now the thing is that's huge. Now, from a woman's perspective, why would a woman go for that? Because she's tax exempt for life too. And the thing is, it's the same reason they're going to college, which is they want the money. The same reason they're selling their pussy online, because I want the money, is also a thing which you can incentivize them to do the other direction.
You could,
because they want the money.
It sounds nice, but
it's worked. It's worked.
It's worked in Poland.
Yeah. Well, in the places it's been tried, the incentives work.
Is that a comparable nation to the United States, who highly depends on women being taxed?
Well, so did Poland.
It's not the same size.
Well, I mean,
we were a very large country. We're a very large country.
But it's all scalable, right?
It could be scalable.
It's all scalable. The thing
that's kind of like when people said Sweden did this, and you're talking about 1 million people versus 100 million people. I understand.
We're going to look at the models where they exist
to
see how they compare.
Model. Yeah,
and it's a better model.
Yes, it's a good model. It would be a good start.
It's a start.
It would be a good start.
Something.
Do you think people would probably try to manipulate that? You said they have 3 kids from the same dad or from different dads?
You have to be married.
You would have to be married. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this would be a nice opportunity for us to bring something that Poland has tried to a place where.
Don't forget that there's a question. What will save the Black community? You guys want to answer that? It should be in the question and answer portion of it. Just your thoughts about what would save the Black community.
We don't have that same structure. They're somewhat democratic socialists.
No,
they're somewhat
not at all. They're very conservative.
They're
very
conservative,
capitalist.
but yeah, they have that. But they're also
they're very capitalist.
Okay,
yeah.
So, but typically we're a lot more capitalist than them.
I don't know.
We're a lot more capitalist in Poland.
Eastern Europe has become very, very based. Eastern Europe has become. All right,
but we can probably say 200, 350 million people versus Poland size.
It's much smaller, yes.
12 million.
But that's what scalability is for.
I mean, this would be the size, not even half of California at this particular point, but that you're scaling to.
Yeah, scalability works that way because
it could.
38 million in Poland.
38 million, quite more than I thought. That would be the state of California and plus Oregon, maybe, or something like that.
Well, and California is bigger than a lot of countries.
It is.
That's the case.
Fifth largest GDP.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, I'll give you that one. It's a little bit of a reach, but I'll give it to you.
Not just that. If we look at the Chinese model, the Chinese model really fucked this up. They decided that they were going to do the one-child policy. Remember that?
And they screwed that up.
Well, not only did they screw it up, but they have almost given themselves imminent doom because their birth rate has dropped down so low. Now, what are they doing? They're giving incentives for women to have children.
Exactly.
Now we do it here too, to a
We
limited
do that
degree
here.
with tax credits, right? But the tax credits, you're not going to incentivize a woman who can sell her pussy on OnlyFans
Exactly.
to have a child for $3,000 a year.
And sometimes they even go on EBT and WIC, and they still use the system. So you're still finding ways where people will manipulate the system. And we're
That's the
seeing
whole
people
point.
that
We're
are
trying to
master
get rid of
manipulation.
that, right?
We would try to get rid of it. It would be a nice try. I'll give you that one. That might be a
No, it's possible, and more than possible, and it's better than the idea of just continual degeneracy.
Well, I'm not promoting degeneracy. However,
Sex outside of marriage.
well, who's that degenerate to? I mean, that's your
Right.
Bible.
So
I mean, most of your Christians, your traditional. Hold on for a second. Most of your traditional Christian women that are getting married to these simps are blindsided, typically by women that were promiscuous.
Sounds like
so
sex
that
out of
sounds like
marriage is
normal.
good.
So
sounds like sex out of marriage is bad.
it sounds like it's really bad, but those are your women you're trying to marry, not the virgins that we're going to have to that VHS area or the area of the magazine.
That was after Larry Flint.
All right, but that was a result. That was kind of one
That
of
was
the things
after
that
they
said.
legalized it. Before
Exactly.
they legalized it, those sections didn't exist.
Exactly. So now it's wide open. It's in the open.
Yeah, so
now,
we need to
where we
eliminate
at?
it. Yes, we
didn't eliminate Playboy and Penthouse.
That's
It
after
still
Larry
exists.
Flint. Larry Flint was Penthouse.
I understand that, but it's still here. I mean,
yeah,
didn't
he
get
won
rid
the
of it.
case.
This is why you need the moderator to kind of step in, because they're just kind of talking about nothing. They sound like two old biddies just arguing about something. You need focused questions, and if I was a moderator, I'd step in here and kind of redirect this.
Correct.
But
so
we
there
can
you're,
we're
how you going to beat
unwinding.
OnlyFans?
We're unwinding and have been unwinding. That's
Yeah,
what Roe
you're
v.
trying
Wade
to-
was. The
right,
idea of
you're
Roe v. Wade was
By
to
the time
unwind.
you beat OnlyFans, the damage is done. I'm gonna just let you know.
Yeah, you know what?
Right, the
That's-
damage is pretty
it's
much
really
done. That
funny.
would
It's
take
like,
30 or 40 years.
okay,
to
well,
beat
after
that.
a war, the damage is done. It might take 30 or 40 years, but you know what the thing is we don't quit because it might take some time.
I didn't ask you to quit. What I'm asking you is, you're trying to solve the problem today of getting traditional.
Both.
Traditional.
Today, tomorrow.
I understand that. Tomorrow will be a better day. But at this point, you're looking at traditional conservative women that have thrown their punanis out. Some
Sure.
of them are single moms.
Well, they're not traditional.
All right.
But yeah.
Again, they're not. But this exists, and unfortunately, the traditional conservative movement,
And it's full of feminists,
These women,
I agree.
yeah, these women come in as feminists, liberals, and they cosplay, trick these men into marriages, say that they're going to marry them, not in the secular, and then they follow you, and then they run right back to the court.
no,
Now,
the opposite.
this does happen quite a bit, even in the Christian church.
Not from us.
Well, I don't know how many you are. We still haven't determined.
But the thing is funny.
This still happens. So a lot of men get caught off guard because they see her thumping the Bible. Oh, she's one of us. And these women have figured out how to cosplay.
And again, I think this is a good question, right? Notice I've answered all of yours. You haven't answered any of mine. But
Which
the thing
one
is,
did I answer?
Yeah, can I ask a couple?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So the progressive mantra is that sexual liberation, this is what feminism was based around, was sexual liberation. That was the big one.
Correct.
That their bodies were being controlled, not just from abortion, but from who they chose to have sex with because they were attracted to them, this and that. Marriage was a complete trap for women. It was self-destructive to them, this and that. What is the distinction in your message in that one to men?
What's my message?
Well, it seems to me that your message is that marriage is simply too dangerous and that if you want to sleep with women outside of it.
Notice he didn't answer the question. Notice he didn't. He just didn't answer the question. Just asked the question in response to Andrew's inquiry. Crazy. Without even clicking, I know Andrew's going to win. Yeah, he's you were missed yesterday, Garrett. He's been winning. I mean, CGA did get a good point in a little while ago about the divorce, where you go to divorce at, but that's the only thing I think that he's been correct about. But he just got asked the question, and he deflected already.
Perfectly fine, and it's actually liberating for you because you're moving away from the trappings of marriage itself.
And it wouldn't say
hang on.
Yeah.
That seemed like the same exact message that we got in the 70s from feminists.
If you frame it that way, it would be. But
So you're
it's
a
just
feminist?
Hold on for a second. It would be two different outcomes. You're protecting wealth, access to children. You're actually being able to control who has your children.
That's
who
what they
doesn't.
wanted.
Exactly. Well, no, they want to be able to kill their children and abort them.
They wanted
all right?
to be able
So
to determine
we're
what happened with their
we're trying to
children.
figure out where we have the control legally. They're having the control over their body. These are two different.
But
these are two different outcomes.
So what's the
legal
delineating
outcome is what
factor
the men are trying to figure
from
out.
a 1970s feminist to your messaging right now? What is the difference?
They're trying to control their bodies.
So are you.
I'm trying to control legally, financially. These are two different things. These
Those are
two
your
different
body.
outcomes.
You're controlling your
no,
bodies.
No, don't just make it a body.
It's the
now.
same thing.
It's financial. These aren't not my
That's
body.
the same
All
arguments they made. It's
listen,
financial.
No, you're trying to make it the same. I
It
know
is
you're
the
trying to.
same.
No, you're trying to.
It's the same argument. It's the same argument. He did have a point. CGA did have a point when he said about the abortion thing. They're trying to kill babies, and I probably shouldn't be saying all these words. I don't want to get flagged. But you know, deleting whatever, that was an argument, and that's not what they're trying to prevent this whole thing going down this whole road. But it's the same argument. We want to control our bodies. We want to control our wallets. We want to control who we have, who has access into our life, and that is not the way. That's not the way that they view it currently.
Ram that in. Oh, finances is your body. I'm trying to control the legal outcomes.
So were
related
they.
to that. Related to finances. not related to me being liberated and sleep with who I want to. The first goal was to control what happens to me financially. It was never the goal for men to avoid marriage, to sleep around. That's the feminist goal. Those are two different things.
They make the same claim. They make the same claim. Their claim
never
is
was financially.
We're not telling women that they need to go sleep
around.
Those
are two different
We're
things.
not telling women they need to go sleep around. We're just telling them they can if they want to. Isn't that the same as your message?
If they want to. Some men don't sleep around.
Yeah.
Some men don't sleep around.
It's just feminism for men, dude.
No, that's what you want to call
There's
it.
no prescriptions. It's just feminism for men.
How's that not a prescription? I get to control who I'm with. I get to control where the law is. And I get to control where my finances are, not the state.
Said the feminist.
No. That's not. No. That's not. It's not the women's finances.
We don't have a bank account. We can't decide what to vote. We can't decide what to do with our children. Women's property. It's the same shit.
That's a secondary issue.
Oh,
that is a secondary issue. You try to compare it. You try to compare it and then say finances is body. I mean, come on.
That's what
you're really trying to cram this.
They were like, we want credit cards.
Narrative.
We want to be able to control our bank accounts. We want to be able to control our finances.
That's secondary, tertiary issue. We're talking about what you framed it as.
It's the primary issue.
The primary issue for you is finances. It's not to sleep around. All right, that would be two different things. But I'm not maintaining my independence and staying single so I can sleep around. That's not the primary issue.
I understand.
It is for finances. So those are two different arguments.
No, they're not.
You want to make it the same for you? Go ahead.
Let me give the explanation.
Please.
If every single argument you make, even if you say these ones over here are tangential, but I agree with them, is the same exact argument of the 1970s bra-burning feminist, whether or not
that's what you believe.
Whether or not it's the primary goal,
make it work for you.
Hang on, man.
Make it work for you.
Even if it's the case, it's not the primary goal; it's a secondary goal. They're still the same goals.
You framed it as the number one goal.
Let me at least make the argument before you respond.
Reach on in there, man.
So the thing is,
dig deep.
Is if you say, "Hey, man,
dig deep.
This is about financing." It's like, okay, well, the 1970s feminists, we can't have credit cards, we can't control our bank accounts, we can't control our own financial independence from men. That's what they're fighting for. You want the same thing. Independence from women to control your own finances.
You were talking about promiscuity.
Almost done with the argument, then you can rebut it. Next thing is, when you're talking about promiscuity, sure, sleep with whoever you want, right? It's under your purview because you can do whatever you want with your body. Same exact argument that they were making. They're not the property of men, right? They should have complete sexual liberation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these are the same degenerate structured systems which led us to where we are currently right this second, except you're just providing them for men instead of women. It's like, can't we at least at some level look at this and say, look, just because these crazy women are doing these insane things, we can actually, as men, do something about this prescriptively without adding the degeneracy. Can't we do that?
Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
There's such thing as, you might take a medication to solve one issue and you get side effects. You're telling me the side effects equals what the men wanted as to solve the problem to heal. That's the reason they took the medication. Now you're telling me about all these side effects. The side effect of feminism being able to control their body is they'll also have finances, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with the men. The men didn't intentionally go in there to say, this is for our bodies. What? We went in there to say this is to control our finances. Then as a result of that, there could be some other things that happen as a result.
Yeah, but if the results are the same as feminism.
Autonomy. They're all looking for autonomy.
It's not the same.
What's the difference in
not going to be
results?
the outcome because at that particular point, the man has controlled his finances. He's outside of the state system.
That's what the feminists argued for themselves.
That's a completely different reason. You can have
Who cares? It's the same fucking outcome.
You can have the same outcome, and it could be for different reasons. All right, you're saying the outcome pretty much says it's a reason. That's not true. You can have two different reasons and have similar outcomes.
So we have the same outcomes for 1970s progressive feminists for men because you intended it to be different.
But you wanted to compare. You just simply wanted to compare it as the same.
It is the same.
It's apples and oranges.
It's apples and oranges because you didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way. Even though that's the same result.
You framed it that way to fit your narrative. That's your narrative.
It's not my narrative. You just agreed that what I said is true.
I didn't agree with anything.
You did. You just said it's the same comparable institution.
This is the outcome. If I choose to do something for different outcomes, it's not the same.
It's just wild.
Just because certain things line up.
It's just
the way you want. And you're cherry picking, by the way, and you're very good at it. You're cherry picking the good things, the bad things, and then you want to reframe traditionalism and call it the traditional church. Well, the traditional church also had the Ku Klux Klan in the 1950s.
No, that was
is that what you want to do? Okay, well, it's the church. And at that particular point, if you want to go ahead and cherry pick what's good and what's bad,
by the way, they were Democrats. Those were Democrats.
Exactly. And of course, they were Democrats. And certainly
not
what
Republicans.
The Republicans. Okay, well, now where are we at? There's going to be Democrats in your church? No Democrats.
Not usually. There are some, of course.
Of course there will be. So there are going to be people that have
the
same
what does the
ideology.
KKK have to do with anything?
You're snapshotting traditional world that literally you can just pinpoint 10 years. Yeah. And if I go back 10 years before, it was non-existent. You're reaching, you're creating a pie in the sky. And then if I fast forward 15 years later, it don't exist. Now you're trying to bring it back out of the dead like you're Billy Graham. I know that doesn't exist.
What doesn't exist?
It is not the normal traditional church. You're screenshotting things. You're picking out a period of history to say we need to take it back from here. That period was only a small percentage.
Trying to give a holistic view. Not just of
you're giving a religious view, not a holistic view. Well, it's very religious.
Most of history is full of religion.
And a whole bunch of religious people killing people. But go ahead. Go ahead. Keep it going. All right, a lot of people killing each other, a lot of divorce, and a lot of fornication.
About 4 to 6% of all wars were religiously based.
How much?
4 to 6%. You can look it up.
All right, I don't care what. That doesn't matter. They kill each other at massive rates. All right, listen. Religion is not the
4 to
answer.
6%.
You guys, you're
no,
trying to tell
degeneracy
me,
and feminism for men.
I
is
didn't
the
say it
answer.
was. You didn't have to live degeneracy if you're non-religious. That's your world.
I
Again,
know.
you always make it fit what you want. To
Because it does fit. It is the
doesn't
truth.
fit.
That's what you guys advocate
You're
for.
only good if you're religious. That's ridiculous. All right, you only make good decisions because you're religious. That's ridiculous. That's what you hope, and that's not the case because a lot of people that are in your.
Why do you say
hold on for a
only?
second.
Why do you say
hold
only?
on.
When I talk about outcomes being better,
you just admitted that there are women that are feminists in your church.
Of course.
Okay, so there's your solution there. You're telling me it's always better.
It is always better.
Snapshot. What you're doing is selling men a fantasy of them,
and you're selling them feminism.
I'm not. Well, we can agree to disagree on that. But
Well,
you're selling them a fantasy.
Just selling them feminism.
And you're selling them a fantasy. All right,
a fantasy that I have data to
Matter of
support.
fact, most people will be dead by the time you get even 1 inch closer to whatever you're proposing.
Well,
most men will be dead as a doorknob.
Under your proposal, you have assured that black men will be dead. You said so yourself. There's no fixing it. They will be. That's your prescription.
Well, that's the prescription that you heard. What I told black men is to leave that community. The community is not to
Are
be
they
saved.
doomed or not, like you said?
The black men leave the community, they thrive.
Yeah, I know. Are black men doomed, like you said
the
earlier?
black
or
men
not?
that leave the community, they thrive.
Yeah, I know.
They
But
do
are,
very well.
are black men doomed, like you said earlier, or
Under
not?
the matriarchy of the black community, yes.
Okay.
Under the scenario that I'm proposing for black men, absolutely not. They thrive.
But that's in the future. What about right now?
So that's,
what about
no,
right
no,
now?
they're thriving right now under your degeneracy model. All right, they're thriving right now under degeneracy.
Who?
Oh, yes.
Who?
You're looking at one right now. You're looking at
so wait a
one.
second.
So that's who.
So let me get this
You're looking
right.
at the notorious one right now. That's who. You want an example?
So men,
give me your numbers.
Yeah. So men.
You didn't give me your numbers. The whole damn stream. But you're telling me
I gave you tons.
No, give me your numbers of your ecclesiastic marriage where your pastor on a little house on the prairie is going to prevent them from getting legal. Give me them numbers.
Again.
Okay, you're asking me for
how
mine.
many times do I have to explain this?
Come on, man.
So again, when you're talking about just because I don't have polling data for the United States specifically, we can definitely look at other nations where there's ecclesiastical marriages and the divorce rates. That's one. You can do it right now.
No.
The second is this.
You keep
even
changing
if
that.
I
That's moving
grant,
the goalpost.
even if I grant that just because polling data for that specific thing doesn't exist right this second, the polling data for people who are engaged in state marriage is still lower. That makes my argument much more compelling than yours.
That's all fine and dandy when you're comparing 125 people to millions of people.
No, these are millions of people.
What number?
In the state.
What's the number
of
people
what?
that participate?
Of what? Which thing?
I keep asking you this. You never give me the
I've
number.
already told you 50 times there's no polling data.
Exactly. You don't have a number.
But I do have numbers.
It's a pie in the sky. It's a fantasy.
Dude,
You've been selling people a fantasy.
do you realize that?
I love it though. Listen.
You make my point stronger, not worse.
A fantasy?
If it's the case that people are engaged in state marriage right this second and are part of traditional churches and their divorce rate is lower, it has to logically follow that if they were not engaged in state marriage, the divorce rate would be even lower.
You're talking about getting hit over the head 30% to 50%. Okay, that's great.
It's huge. That's huge.
I'll give you that. That's the difference between 150,000 people. Yet you're telling me you have a better solution
No,
to
it's more than
mitigate that.
150,000.
Hold on. You're giving me a mitigating better than that 30%.
That's way more
what
than
you're saying.
150,000, dude.
Where's that solution for the better than the 30%? I've been asking for it. You can't tell me how many people that you got under these notorious contracts that don't
I can
have
logically demonstrate it for you. There's no polling data for it. So what?
Get that number. That would be a great insight. So you can tell the audience. Hold on for a second. You can tell the audience how many people that you're going to prevent from busting out this ecclesiastic contract with your little house on the prairie, whatever it is that you're doing. If you could tell your men how many people you have doing it and you prevented them from getting divorced and losing their kids under custody, please tell us.
Yeah. So
otherwise, it's a fantasy.
Oh, let's respond again. Do you have the polling data for how many of the black men you've personally helped?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see it.
Hundreds of thousands
Let's
right now.
see it.
Hundreds
Let's
of
see the polling
thousands.
data.
Hey, everybody in the chat.
Where's the polling
press
data?
One. We're gonna do it right now live.
That's
We're gonna do it live.
scientific
Everybody
poll-
press one.
That's polling
if you're
data?
A Coach Greg Adams.
That's polling data.
If you follow me for the last,
You don't
8
have
years,
hundreds of thousands of
press
people in your
one.
chat, dude. Give me a break.
Press one if you can see it. Look. You see that?
Yeah. Where's your
you don't want to
polling
look.
data?
You don't want to look. Look at this.
Where's the polling data?
Coach Gang represent.
Do you have
You see it
scientific
right here?
polling data?
That's more than your ecclesiastic contracts. I can
great.
guarantee you that.
Okay. Everyone in the Crucible chat who Andrew Wilson has helped, put one in the chat. That's scientific polling data. Says Coach.
Go ahead.
Whoever.
I know you don't want to hear it. I thought you was gonna let it happen. Now all of a sudden you don't like the numbers. Come on, Andrew, man.
That's not polling data.
I thought we were better.
That's
than
not
this.
polling data, dude.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
You want to call
That's
me a
not
doofus?
polling
Hey,
data.
were you gonna call me a doofus?
Yes, that's doofus shit.
Yo, man, that's crazy because I asked you for a number. And I'm the doofus. You can't even give me a number.
I gave you
your
hard
data.
dude.
Wait, where's your army at? What's the name of your group? What's the name of your group?
The Crucible chat.
The Crucible Army. Go ahead and pull them up and tell them how many of them are under your ecclesiastic contract.
And let's make sure we got this straight. How many people are in his live chat right now?
He's got 2,060.
And see how many people are in mine.
Let's go. Pull it up. They should beat me in your ecclesiastic contract. They should floor us in the ecclesiastic contract.
Oh,
4,300.
Not even double.
Just one.
All right, we're both doing well.
Just one, please. Just one, please. And now that means I win.
Where they at?
That's scientific polling data.
There's crickets over there. Okay.
Just ones. Just
there they
one.
go.
All I got to do is
There's
ones,
the
and that's
Crucible over
scientific
there.
data.
There's a couple of twos in there. I want the ecclesiastic contract marriages.
Oh, no.
That's what we're asking
You
for.
said, who have I helped?
Oh, wait a minute.
That's different.
No, you ask who, for me,
Yeah.
who's followed my prescription.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not
who has the
polling
ecclesi-
data, dude.
I ask you for the ecclesiastic
God.
contracts, Andrew. This is very simple.
What part of
This
we
is
don't
very-
have the polling data, but I
because
can
you don't have the
logically
numbers.
demonstrate it. Do you
You
not
don't have the
understand?
numbers. You're selling a fantasy.
We do have the numbers.
You're selling a fantasy.
Oh my God, dude, this is
You're
you're
selling
so
a
low
fantasy to
tier.
men. And I think what you need to do
like
is
talking to a fucking wall.
And I hope that all those cancer sticks that you've been smoking will help your ass live long enough to see how far you led men astray. I would love that for you to survive, and I would bless you by the name of God in the Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints that you survive all them goddamn smokes
You don't
you've been
follow
out
the
here.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day
all them
Saints.
smokes you have, so you can come out here and live and see how many men
Jesus
you led
Christ of
astray.
Latter-day Saints. You follow Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Somebody does.
You
More
don't.
people than that.
Give me a
More
break.
people than the Crucible.
The
More
LDS
people that
You are not in the LDS church,
hey,
dude.
More people.
Oh my
More
God.
people than you have under your ecclesiastic contract. I can guarantee you that. All right.
All you have to do is agree to one proposition. Is it the case that you personally think
Not
that
today.
if there is no state contract, you're not in a
Easily.
state contract, your chances of getting divorced are going to decrease? Is that true or false?
If that's true, even if you don't get married, correct. Your chances of getting divorced goes to 0. Oh. And that's the same thing I said. Don't get married, you don't get divorced. The number one cause of divorce is marriage.
Not
Boy,
marriage,
it sounds like
a state
it sounds
contract.
Like, no, the number one cause of divorce is marriage. Hey, Andrew, let's just say this, man. Listen.
I thought they could divorce you even if you weren't married to him 5 minutes ago.
No, you went through a ceremony. You went through a religious ceremony. So at that point, they can. But if I never went through a ceremony, they can't.
They can sue you for anything by your logic, whether you
No,
went
no,
through
no,
it or
no,
not.
don't move the goalpost. I said you went through a ceremony. I didn't. All right, those are two different things, sir.
Which part of I don't really
That was the logic. That was the logic that he said that you can sue someone for anything. So you can just be in a girlfriend relationship. She says she's going to sue you for divorce. You never live with her. You still have to respond and say, I don't even know this lady, or we never lived together like that. So that was the argument.
again, I don't understand.
We're almost he's been hitting below the belt the whole time here. He's been, little offhand cuffs here and there, comments here and there. I'm almost done with this. This was not the intellectual debate that I was expecting.
If it's the case that you
He's
say,
scrambling and scraping for shit right now.
if it's the case that you say,
He's
if you're
scrambling and scraping for shit right now.
If you're married by the state,
Look at him scrambling.
yeah,
and
if you're
scraping
married
for
by the
shit.
state, if you're married by the state, your chances of marriage or divorce
But if you don't get
increase.
married, your chances of divorce is 0.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a second. I'm sorry.
Your chances of if you don't get married,
unless you're
your chances
cohabitating,
of
right?
divorce is
Unless you're
0.
cohabitating.
Depends on where you live.
Yeah. So then it's not
That's not
zero.
law. Not
So
in
you just
California.
lied. It's not
Not in
zero.
California.
So then it's not zero.
What about if you don't cohabitate?
Yeah. Again. So
Again.
now you're moving the goalposts.
No, most of the time. If you read my book, and I bet you can't read. Did you write a book? I'm pretty sure you didn't.
No.
I wrote a book.
My
that
wife wrote a
basically
book, and I take all her money though.
Good.
Oh my God! Why would he say this dude can't read? Why? I mean, why is he doing that? They must have had some type of conversation like before they came on live, because I would have been like, "Hold on, time out, man. We got to go talk about this in the back, because I'm not just gonna sit here and get insulted the whole time." So I don't know what kind of arrangement they had. More like drink champs, yeah. More like drink champs, yeah. I don't know. Does books count? The world would end and there would still be argument. Yeah, drink champs. Yeah, read my book. He just lost it. Give him the book.
Well, that tells me what type of man you are. Holy mackerel, you're pimping your wife out now. What's
To
next?
write
What's
books
next?
that I
What's
profit
next? If
from?
those, how many books that she sold? Now let me get
I'm
back to
pimping-
this.
I'm pimping
Hold
her
on for
out
a
'cause she
second.
wrote a
Hold on for a
book?
second.
What the fuck?
My
What?
prescription for men.
My
Hold on for a second. No.
to write a book.
Yeah, well, I guess YouTube's going well if you're living off your wife's books. All right, what's her name so we can give her some shine to sell some books?
Oh, her name is Rachel Wilson, the author of Occult Feminism. I guarantee it sold more copies than yours, sir.
All right, we can look it up.
Let's
It's
look it
over
up.
that now. We can look it up.
No, let's look it
now
up
watch
right
this.
now.
Watch this. All right, go ahead.
I want to look it up right now. Now I just want to
Now
know.
at this point, what have you done? You're living off the backs of your wife? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Is this traditional marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
Boy, oh boy, men have fallen. I'm gonna tell you that.
Absolutely.
Men have fallen. It's a disgrace. All right.
Man.
You're living off of what? Is this traditional marriage, by the way?
I believe that's true, Chris. He doesn't have ecclesiastical marriage. I think what he's advocating for is do something versus what's going on today. He probably would advocate for legal marriage, but then in any case, and first of all, I think that if you have kids involved, you got to have a legal marriage. I mean, you got to protect your kids. You got to protect that. I wouldn't even advocate for that. But as two people, a 45-year-old guy and a 40-year-old woman, what do you need to state? I just can't understand what do you need the state involved for? Just, again, write up a contract, make her the beneficiary of your will, decide who's going to get your house and 401k and all that. I've gone down the road. I'm not going to do it again here, but I don't know.
Yes.
Your wife is in a traditional marriage and you're living off her finances. God damn. All right, boy. The crucible is falling apart at this particular point, bursting open at the seams.
Yes, you got me.
What's your book called?
Free Agent Lifestyle.
You got me, man.
Yeah, I did got you.
I take all. It's true. I take all of her money. It's true.
Well, that's what you said.
I mean, I do.
You said that.
I do.
I mean, I'm not saying something you
all
didn't
of
say.
it, and it's been on guns.
And
Every
traditional
time.
marriage sounds great, guys. Traditional marriage sounds
does that
great.
sound bad? Who would be upset by that? I take all of my wife's money and spend it on guns. He says traditional marriage sounds great,
That's
guys.
traditional marriage. That falls under traditional marriage?
Sure.
Oh, boy.
What's untraditional
All right,
about it?
That's a great traditional marriage.
It
model.
sounds like great
All right.
traditional marriage to me.
Yeah.
I can't find the numbers, honestly.
Oh,
Well,
that's too bad.
That's what happens. Shit happens. But, you know, it's a bestseller. Trust me. You should read it.
So is hers.
Yeah.
It's just sold
But
more.
what have you
It's
done?
just sold more.
But what have you done?
I take her money.
Zero. Exactly. Boy, I mean, you hear this?
Yeah.
This is the traditional patriarchy, masculinity here, in live and in living color. But you can follow him. You can follow me.
I mean, your book is ranked higher on the charts and it has more ratings.
Oops.
Can't find the sales numbers on either.
The sales numbers are what matters.
Oh. Oh.
Let's see the numbers.
Oh.
Numbers.
Uh-oh.
Numbers.
Uh-oh.
Numbers.
Amazon booksellers rank Coach Greg Adams, Free Agent Lifestyle, Cult Feminism. Amazon bestsellers rank number 593,000 versus number 98,000. Oh, that's where he ranks in between. Audible rankings 224, 4.6, 78, 786.
Oops.
Numbers.
I'm higher ranked. More people have.
Let's see the numbers.
Come on, man. I don't know. I don't keep the data. I don't know what
I
happened.
don't know how many books you've sold.
Millions.
So millions of books. Give me a fucking break with this shit.
How many books you sold?
You haven't
Zero.
sold millions
You
of
sold
books.
zero
You're
goddamn
just
books.
lying and coping, dude.
You listen. I'm higher ranked.
Yeah, you sold millions of
Hey, but
books.
look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, Mr. Numbers guy. I got
Okay,
higher
where's the
ranked.
numbers?
Higher ranked. More people
I wanna
have
know how many you've
look at the book.
sold.
More people have rated the book.
Yeah, and
Free
get-
agent.
And that's definitely true when it comes down to that. Yeah. It's definitely true when it comes down to books and all that. I'm going to leave it off here. This is nonsense. So books don't have to be whatever. So they're talking crazy here. So, all right. So that's the end of that. So you guys can go over there. Who won the debate? 38%. Hit the like button, first of all. Second of all, watch, go over to the post in the chat there and click on who won the debate. Andrew is 38%, CGA is 25%. They both lost 38%. So hit that. Thanks for checking out the rest of this video. It was kind of it was annoying at the end there. So I don't know. Anyway, so that's that. So appreciate you guys checking out the video. Tomorrow I got myself and Lamar Hall will be on talking about some stuff. So that's it. Let's see. You guys got any questions or anything? What's CGA's argument again? His argument is that people should do what's called the free agent lifestyle. They should not marry, in particular for men. They should not marry. They should engage in exactly everything that Andrew was advocating for, or the opposite of what Andrew was advocating for. Do not marry. Have a bunch of different women here and there. And just that was his argument. His argument was a divorce. He would say marriage is bad for men's health, wealth, self-esteem, future earnings. Well, maybe not future earnings. He would say that it's bad for if you go through divorce, that's obviously going to hurt your earnings, your future earnings. His argument was that it's has negative impact upon men's health, etc. Andrew's argument was that marriage, if done correctly and under an ecclesiastical framework, would be good for culture, good for the Black community, good for all communities. And it's because we've gotten away from the traditional framework of marriage. And he also put in there that he would be okay with some type of spiritual ceremony or ecclesiastical marriage. The difference being ecclesiastical means that there's a preacher over it who's helping to serve people, helping to guide people. So he's of that framework and frame of thinking that people need to have guidance. And I'm not sure I disagree with that. I don't know about ecclesiastical, but certainly some type of community-based organizational structure that holds people accountable and that tells people the divorce is not the way. I think we all need that. I think I needed that as well. So that's what the arguments were. So you can go over there and see who you think won that particular debate. I can't vote on it, but yeah. So that was their debate. Post, he's arguing no feelings, no discussions he had. Yeah, it is cheaper. Is it cheaper? Let's see here. Most representatives are really about themselves and getting their popularity up and social issues that affect people to boost them up, and the ratings become more popular. Yeah, a lot of this was self promotion. Yeah, absolutely. Wasn't a debate. It was descended into mudslinging. Yeah, it did get into mudslinging at the end. Peace. Sorry for tuning in late. No, it's all good. You're good. Chaos Rain. What's up? What's up, brother? Sounds like CGA argues for degeneracy, and that was that was Andrew's point. You're arguing for the same amount of degeneracy that the quote unquote feminists were arguing about. So what do we do about this? And in particular, listen, we got a problem in our community. And I'm sure that CGA knows that there's a problem within our community. But how are you going to address that? And you're not going to address that by telling men to go their own way. It's just the truth. I'm not telling you not to do it. But if you're going to fix the problems in the community, you have to stay a part of the community and organize and defeat the forces that are going on out there and take control. And that's the only way it's going to be fixed. You don't want that. I understand people don't want that. I understand people think it's cooked, it's over. And people who go their own way, men who go their own way or go into other communities prosper. I just can't imagine. And I can't imagine going into, and I'm not advocating for either way. I try to call balls and strikes, but someone coming from our community going into another community and trying to take all their women. You might get one of the lower quote unquote women, but they're not going to give the best of the best to you, right? Because they want their cultures, their values, the way that they talk, the way that they speak, their idioms, their comedy, the way that they function, the way that they move. They want that, and they want somebody who understands that. And to try to leave one community because yours is going down and try to hook up with another community ain't gonna work. I think the same thing about white guys who all these black women who want to date white men. You think they want to take their attitudes and all the other things that black men have an issue with? Let's just call it what it is. You think they want that in their community? No. But then you get ladies who are saying, well, I can be soft for the right guy. I think I got a video coming out about that. I can be soft for the right guy, or I got the black woman effect of risen up these dudes and or cleaning them up and making them look nice and all this other kind of nonsense. To me, why not just get together and just work on our issues? These issues are not insurmountable. We can solve these problems. These problems that we have concerning our degeneracy, the level of violence in our communities, our lack of social mobility. Our lack of social mobility is because we abandon the community, because we move out and try to marry into other places and things. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. It can be fixed. We got to get our voting up. A lot of things can be fixed. So going to do a follow-up on this video. Okay. Let me know. Check it out. Better together with structure. Yeah, better together with structure. That's what's missing. That is what's missing, is the structure. Multiple partners, no stability, except you're right. That is lazy. I don't know. Bad promotion. Yeah. I don't know anything about Chris's. I'm sorry about Andrew's family structure. So Andrew's current marriage. Yeah. And they want to reproduce children with men from their community. Did you say something before? I missed what you might have said, High Vibe. And they want to reproduce children with men from their culture. Oh, you're talking about the women. Yeah, they absolutely do. they absolutely do. It's kind of, I mean, I understand the whole movement. I understand. I'm not totally dumping on that, but you give them, if all things were equal, they would definitely choose their men over you. No doubt about it. That's any community. And that should include us. We should, if all things were equal, and we didn't have the social issues that we had, I don't think there's a black man that would choose out all these beautiful sisters running around out here. But there's other things that are inhibiting that, and we got to address those things that are inhibiting that. Whether it's the weight, the hair, the attitude, all the other things, right? The men with not enough good men to go around. Well, we got to address there's a lot more than they say, but there's not enough for every good woman. There's a lot of issues we have to take a raw, hard look at ourselves and say, here's what some things we need to fix about ourselves. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. The problem is black people are afraid to take accountability for it. Yeah, you're right about that, high vibe. We got to take a look at ourselves. We got to take a look at ourselves, take accountability, stop with this craziness and nonsense. I just recorded a video. I think I'm going to drop it tomorrow morning about what type of gurus we're listening to. We got these crazy gurus. Got so mad today. I was looking at, I had to go out for a drive. So I was watching Instagram and this crazy guru pops up just talking nonsense. I think I will drop it for tomorrow morning. Crazy. They will solve them to be there. Some won't. The will to solve them has to be there. Some will, some won't. Yeah, you're right about that, Jayla. And the black community has tried to do it Andrew Wilson's way, and Andrew literally married a white Keisha. Well, probably. We got to have a long discussion about what happened in the 1960s, entering into the 1970s. Once the civil rights movement was passed and once feminism kicked in, our marriages went down the toilet, and we got to have a solid analysis from a sociologist, from religion specialist, psychologist, psychiatrist, any type of thought leader. Really they have to come up with some type of policy paper about what that problem was, a consensus about what that problem was, and how you fix it. That is what needs to happen. Looking at the 1960s, how we go from the most married to the least married in a generation, in a span of years. Whether it was feminism, whether it was the turning of the elimination of many quote unquote black jobs with factories moving overseas, whatever it was, let's come to a consensus as to what that was. Let's figure it out, and let's work on that. Yeah, there's been a lot of gurus. You're right about that, Yoli. Yeah. Yeah. So to this point here, a lot of guys are coming around, in their second part of life and saying, here's what I should have done in my younger years, and here's what I want men to do. And I don't know how well that flies. I don't know how well that flies. How do we get young men? Because there's 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds. There's guys running around in college right now. There's guys with jobs, whether they're working at Walmart or Best Buy or something else, some other place, or working an oil rig, wanting to have a bunch of relations with a bunch of different women. And then they're going to wake up one day when they're 35 and say, I shouldn't have did that, and try to marry somebody and look around. I mean, it's almost the same thing that we're blaming women for doing, right? So, yeah, I mean, well, I'm not disagreeing with you, Garrett. I'm not disagreeing with you, but we got to get a multitude of the higher elite class ladies to write this in books. Diane Stewart did a good job. Chris Marsh, I had her on, and I love her. She didn't do a good job of explaining what happened in her book when I had her on the podcast. And I want to have some others on to try to talk about it. And I've invited a lot of black sociologists on. I hit them up on Instagram. I hit them up in X, LinkedIn. They don't want to come on and talk about it. So I don't know. They don't want to come on and talk about it. So it's tough. It's okay if Andrew doesn't, even if he's. But it's okay if Andrew doesn't, even it, because he's a guru at debating OnlyFans chicks with mental illness. He's had some couple of good debates with some feminists, but he tries to stick with very rigid, logical type of stuff, and he's good when he does that. This one he didn't do good on. Well, and CGA didn't help out a lot either. So, but he shouldn't punch down like that. I think he's established himself to punch down on these OnlyFans chicks. That's, I mean, unless he's getting a ton of money, like, you know, $1,000 per show, I wouldn't do it. I'm not gonna. I mean, it's just not worth my time, and you know. They was only out there out of necessity and left us on the first thing smoking, but they LOL, but they want no part of traditional marriage except those bill payments. I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not I don't disagree with that analysis at all. The feminist argument, that particular argument, the man in the house rule argument, I think it all played a part. Factory jobs going overseas, the rise of the crack era. I think it all had to play a part in it. But we just need the ladies to, in particular, the ladies from the quote unquote feminist type of ladies. That's why I push so hard on Dr. Chiaku. What caused this problem? We need them to be able to see that and say that. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'm not saying I don't understand it. I'm saying I do understand it. And Diane Stewart in her book understood it to a certain degree. She couldn't say, you know, she couldn't pinpoint it as that. She did acknowledge that black men were subjugated and we weren't financially viable. That's what they usually go to. There's not enough financially viable men. That's what you usually hear persons such as Diane Stewart say. There's not enough financially viable men, which I agree with. I mean, it's just the truth. But why aren't they financially viable? That's the question. And so we have to get them to understand that. And again, to Dr. Chiako's question, if you were tricked, why are you running into the people who tricked you? Why are you running to them for help and assistance and wanting to marry them? And all? That was my whole argument. Well, I've been down that road. Yeah, not only but kids can barely read, if at all. How they're going to read the books? They're not. Believe me, I had the same issue right now in teaching college. They're not reading the material. Supposed to have a meeting sometime today. It's supposed to call me today, having a meeting about this type of stuff. Right? These kids aren't reading the material. They're just making stuff up. They're just AIing everything. Crazy. Assuming they even have interest in doing so. Yeah. Well, they want the education. They want the education. They want the certificate. They want the degree, but they're not going to have the knowledge in their head. That's the issue. That is the issue. They're not going to have the knowledge in their head. They're not going to have the knowledge in their head. You know, and again, I teach criminal justice. Do you really want a cop who's been AIing his way through college? Do you really want a forensic psychologist who's been AIing his way through college? And I always put up that somebody sent me a poster. I put it up, or a meme. I always put it up in every single class. You know, right now there's some doctor using AI to get through college or get through med school. So you better start eating your fruits and vegetables. I put that in every single class, right? And I want them to think about it. You know, you don't want that, right? The people can't write reports. They can't write an email. Everything is AI. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's a bad situation. And our community, we know our community is going to be hurt most. We know that. Our numbers, no matter what, our numbers are already down. Our graduation rates, our reading ability rates, everything is the worst for us. And if you think you can just rely on AI, it's crazy. Yeah, that was a bad argument from both of them. According to most young men, most young men are not trying to be stepfathers. Yeah, well, that's true. I got a video to do about that as well. Yeah, audiobooks. Yeah. Chris, if a woman had one past partner and they regretted it now and want to be a loving wife, give him children, respect, serve, keep him in shape, you telling me most men would turn that down? I don't think they would. If you got a good woman who was willing to do all this different stuff, she came from a good family and she even had a kid, I don't think a lot of guys going to turn that down. And nor do I think they should. I think they should do what's best for them. It's a good question. It's a good question. One kid, and she just listen. She's not gonna say I made a mistake or whatever. She might, she's obviously not gonna call her kid a mistake, but she was very contrite and try to be extremely feminine and all that. I don't think a guy's gonna turn that down. I don't think so. From what I've seen indirectly, the schools don't teach to learn; they teach to test. Well, that's definitely true. High vibe, absolutely 100% true. Teaching to the test. If you guys didn't hit the votes on there who want to debate, make sure you do that. Hit the like button. What's the name of your channel there, Chris? I gotta check it out. Is it Chris Mike? Tell me the name of your channel. What's the name of your channel? I have to check it out. Especially if you have the ear of young men, because it's hard out here. Andrew won. Make sure you put that in the goal, the poll, I should say. Birth rate isn't going anywhere. I was just reading Pew Research today, their projections about that. Birth rate isn't going anywhere. As long as industrialized countries produce less children, period, full stop. Industrialized countries, once women figure out that they can enter the workforce, once they figure out that they can get educations, enter the workforce, all birth rates go down. The only modern nation that has a positive birth rate is Israel. That is the only one. So they all go down. They don't want to have babies. So Andrew could talk all he wants. They can try to bring back traditional, all this. I definitely don't think that. They would rather make the money on their own, either have no kids, have one kid when they're 35, between 35 and 40 or 45. Even if it doesn't have a dad, they don't care nothing about that. They don't care nothing about birth rates. It's men that care about that. It's men that care, but they don't care nothing about that. That's a lost cause argument. Even China's having a difficulty now. They went from the one child rule, or no female children, or whatever that rule was, to now a problem, an issue. We could look at what's going on in South Korea. They don't care. They still got the 4B movement over there, whatever it's called. No babies, no birthing, no brides, whatever all those B's stand for. No dates. They don't care. They don't care. They got their jobs. What do they need you for? And you guys don't know how to talk to them, and you don't rub their back in the feet at night, and you don't tell them how much you love them, and you're not bringing them flowers, and you're not producing all this emotional support that they would get from their girlfriends or from an animal. They'd rather cuddle up with their dogs and the kid. They'd rather do that. It's sad. It's sad, but it's true. I talked about the Mouse Utopia experiment. It's in real life. We're living it. For whatever reason, this is what happens. Yeah. Well, they don't care. They don't care. Yeah. Also, I think that they have their religion also causes them to do it, right? Their religion causes them to do it. They take part in having a bunch of kids. They take pride, I should say, in having a bunch of kids. I had CGA winning. It would take an apocalyptic event to change this culture and materialize the things he has suggested. I agree with that. I mean, I understood his argument. Don't get my understanding his argument for saying it's going to be a reality. I'm saying, well, it could be reality, but it's going to be a hard sell, because you got to convince women to go back to these traditional gender roles. You have to convince them of that, because the type of guy that they want is not going to tolerate that. It's not going to tolerate that. It's not going to tolerate, staying home and cooking brownies and you're at work all day, being talked to any type of crazy way. No real man is going to deal with that. Talk about your feelings, and I am maintaining they don't even mean it. I did a video about that. What is it? Man keeping. They don't want to They don't want to listen to your problems. But this is what you've been talking about for the last 20 years. Men need to open up, and they do, and you can't take it. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. They might have the degree, job, etc. But what about when they're old? Nurse, they don't think they're not thinking about that, Garrett. It's sad to say. It's sad. It takes a rare woman to think down the line. And I'm not saying it's impossible for all women to think that way, but a lot of them just don't. They're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about they enjoy their job. They enjoy their degree. They're enjoying the life that they're living now. They're enjoying their traveling. They're enjoying it. They're not thinking about being a nurse in a homeless shelter and who's going to talk to them then. They're not, that's not. I don't think that's a, 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 a major consideration. I just don't think that it is. It should be. It should be. I mean, you should want to reproduce, have children, make sure your lineage goes on, carries on. I don't understand that. I'm not saying I understand it, but it's what they're doing. It's obvious because that's what they're doing, and it's obvious because in every culture, every country that this goes into, these are the results. Not only in the human family, but again, the Mouse Utopia family told you that as well. When things get too good, the women stop, the female might stop having babies, or they don't take care of them, or they abandon them. And then the promiscuity goes up, and then the alpha male mice tolerate some guy mounting them from the back. This is what we see in the Mouse Utopia experiment. Is it not? Can you not see that this is what's going on in everyday life and here in America? It's absolutely wild. You think we'd be so much higher brained? You think our higher brains would have us behaving differently from what the mice were doing? No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Black women have always had to work as long as it was as it COL keeps rising. Cause as long as cost of living keeps rising, then you can't forget women choosing men over their survival. Traditional marriage is hard to sell. Yeah, you're right about that. It's hard to sell. They've always had to work. They're always going to work. They're not going to. And what are we even talking about? We're talking about traditional marriage. I mean, what are we even talking about? I mean, just a guy just making the final decision. I was listening to some podcast the other day where it's just I think it was an old recording. The woman was like, "Listen, I make the decision in this house." I mean, what man is going to tolerate that? Particularly in this, people say it's not a United States, not not a patriarchy. I don't know what we are, but you got a lot of alpha men here, and no alpha man is going to deal with that. So yes, cost of living is going to go up. And listen, if you're in a relationship, man, if you're a man in a relationship and your wife is working, what is wrong with you coming home? She cooks and you clean up the kitchen, or you cook and she cleans up the kitchen, and you both help out with the kids. I don't understand. I don't understand a lot. I don't understand a lot of that rhetoric. I don't understand that. I don't understand it. I mean, I do agree with gender roles to a certain extent, right? I take care of the outside, cut the grass, this, that, and the other. Something pipe breaks or something else needs to be changed or whatever. I'll take care of that. She does more of the domestic work, but that doesn't mean you don't do anything. I mean, you think it's emasculating to change your kids' diapers, to read to your kids at night, to tuck them in, to kiss them, to tell them you love them, to get up early, make them breakfast. You think that's emasculating? I don't even understand that. I don't understand that. I think and if guys are out there operating like that, shame on you, particularly if your wife works. Even if she doesn't work, don't you want to be a part of your kid's life? I don't get that. I don't get that. Everybody needs therapy. Let's see. Dr. Thunder, welcome, brother. I dig both guys. Honestly, I was very disappointed by the debate because CJ was so antagonistic and didn't really interface with the legitimate arguments that Andrew presented. There you go, brothers. I said the same exact thing. I was very disappointed with how CJ acted. I don't know why he was doing that. I don't know if he was doing it just for clicks and like that we talked about. I was very disappointed in that. Andrew, I've seen do better. I think he was I don't know why he was so soft, in all honesty. I don't know. Again, maybe he didn't want to get punched in the face by CGA. I don't know. but he was soft. I've seen it be a lot worse. I mean, but he did not do his best in this particular debate. Yeah. Maybe we should ask them how they plan to retire. It takes several million now. Do they currently have it? I seriously doubt it. Listen, I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of jobs have 401ks and this, that, and the other. So I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. Continuing Dr. Thunder, both made some good points, but it wasn't a discussion in good faith. Much of it, I agree with you. It was not in good faith. A lot of just try to gotcha moments, looking for sound bites and clicks and clippable moments and all that. Yeah, we agree with you, Doc. We agree with you. Yeah, women out there living their best lives. They don't care nothing about that. They don't care nothing about that. Yeah, you mean car repossessed, lose homes, can't afford child cuts. Yeah, I mean, if that's what it takes, I mean, they're not concerned about that. That is not something that's on their radar. They're living their best lives. If you get the reach back text or the circle back text or the big head text or whatever, it is what it is. But they're not thinking that way. This is why third world countries and certain other countries heavily gatekeep advancement. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's sad but true. Put that on the billboard. Mhm. Yeah, that's because American parents today. Because Mike says American parents care more about things than their kids. That's because American parents today didn't have things. Now they have access to things. Now they want to be selfish. That's why a lot more people don't want to have kids. They want to be selfish. I want to travel the world. Why? I don't want to be saddled down with a kid. I don't want to be wiping boogers. I don't want to be changing Pampers. I could be out on the beach somewhere. They're saying it loudly and clearly. They're saying it, making videos about it. I was watching one the other day. Oh, I could be married right now, but here I am in I think she was in Thailand. Here I am in Thailand in the water. They don't care. They don't care. They do not care. All right, so that's what I got to check out then. Andrew Wilson ran to Roll Tomasi podcast last, so I got to check that podcast out because I sensed something happened because I read at the beginning of this when I started this that Coach Greg Adams said that he got kicked out of the manosphere or something like that. So obviously there was some kind of exchange going on there. So I got to go check that out. I can't carry my groceries. No one stopped to help me with a flat tire. No men approaching the club, etc. Why should we? Right. I think Andrew was caught off guard by CJ and expecting him to be much more docile because he's black. I don't think that. I didn't catch that. I'm not saying that you're wrong about that every other bar, but I think that he probably just kind of held back and just wanted to debate the facts. And he was kind of thrown off. He started, throwing all these jabs about, Sky Daddy this and Sky Daddy that. I would have maybe CGA's intention was just to throw this guy off, just he kept interrupting. Okay, go ahead, say this. Yeah, dig deeper, right? All these little different things get in your brain, so you can't really formulate your thoughts and keep going where you're going. And I think that was all part of the strategy. But he didn't have any. I just don't think it was good faith. Yeah. Not the ladies I know. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Men can be free agents with marriages, especially those types 50. Men can be free agents within marriage, especially those 50-50 types. Maybe I'm missing that. Men can be free agents. They can't be free agents in marriage. I mean, that's not a free agent. The free agent lifestyle is you're not hooked up with anyone. You're probably more into sugaring. You just come and go as you please, and you let ladies know what it is, and you pay to play. That's what he's advocating for, and that's not going to save the community. And I don't think that Coach Greg Adams is, because he said quite plainly in this exchange that he's not trying to save the community. He thinks it's cooked and over with, and you got to go your own way. That's what he said. So, why don't we want to be married, Dr. Well? Why do we prefer the beach? Whose fault is it? You tell me, Jayla. I think that I guess you're going to say the men messed it up. And I'm not saying that men haven't had to do a little bit more. I'm not saying I'm never going to say that. I think we got to take a look at ourselves and understand what happened again in the 1960s, 1970s, in particular the Black community, because what's happened is we have forsaken marriage, but we haven't forsaken having children, and we're bringing children into this world a lot less. Some of them are practicing. Some people are practicing safe sex. Some people are deleting their kids and all that kind of stuff. But we're still procreating, and we're still creating all these dysfunctional relationships. And then we got kids growing up in these dysfunctional relationships. So we got to we as a community have to take a look at that. Listen, I'd rather be on the beach too, but I raise my kids. I'm planning to move out now. I'm finishing up with the work that I got to do, and I'm going to move to the beach somewhere. So I get the allure of the beach, but I put in the work to make sure that my kids will raise well at first. And also, I think that we gotta figure out how ladies select for better men. We got to figure out how ladies select for better men. You can't partner up with Pookie in your early formative years, not early formative years, but teenage, late adolescent years, whatever, and then try to circle the block when you're 35 and wanting to get the corny good guy. The corny good guy is not going to go for it anymore. He's going to follow Coach Greg Adams and go somewhere else and get a woman who's going to come with more pliability, flexibility, and cooperation. That's where he's going to go. So, and yeah, listen, we gotta do something about these boys who are growing up. Make sure that they can read, make sure that they can function, make sure that they have a trade, make sure that they exhibit masculine tendencies and qualities. I'm not going to argue about that. You blame the tradcon men. Okay, tell me why you blame the tradcon men. Some men are acting as free agents within marriage and expecting women to go 50-50. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if you cheat, I mean, whose fault is it? I'm really asking the question kind of, tongue in cheek here. Whose fault is it if a man is, if a married man is cheating? Because he's obviously cheating with someone who either knows or should knows he's married. Because if this man can never spend a night, he only calls you between 9 a.m. and and 5 p.m. He can't call you after 6, right? Somewhere along the line, it ought to click and say, this guy married? Women, we go to beaches, high-end restaurants, Gucci bags, multiple partners, etc. Bill comes men. That's disgusting. Women, shocked Pikachu face. Yeah. What community? The women don't want a community. They just want the dominance. You can't get around that. Well, yeah, I'm not saying they're wrong about that. It's not going to get any bigger if we're not partnering up. That's the part, Jayla. It's not, the pool of men is way too small. I agree with you. I'm never going to push back on that. There's not enough good quality men to go around. However, there are a lot more good quality men, but they're not being selected because they're lame, corny, and whatever. Because they're deemed to be lame and corny and whatever. But my point is, if some black women are dating out and trying to do the black wife effect and wife of these dudes and turn them into Eminem, why can't you do that with the black corny dude? I don't understand that. So that just confuses me. So, you're right. We got to get a better quality men, and the women have to select those types of men. You got to select the guy who's going to engineering school. You got to select the guy who's in law school. You got to select the carpenter, the blue blue collar tradesman. You got to select a truck driver. You got to select these type of guys. You got to select the guy who stock shelves at Walmart. Some of those jobs are pretty good paying jobs, right? So select those types of guys. The guy who's not smoking weed and getting into fights and whatever. You got to select those type of men. Women are waking up to the fact that we didn't vet well and were in relationships with emotionally immature men. What else are we to do but live our best lives after that realization? I can't disagree with you, High Vibe. If you wake up to this and say, but I do wish, here's what I will say: live your best life, but also give good advice to your younger nieces. That is problematic. That is way too problematic. Telling young women not to prioritize relationships, not to get married, not to go to college and come out with a ring by spring. That is and that is going to continue the degradation of the community, because these same women statistically will produce. They may not have a mate, but they'll produce. That is the issue that I would have. Live. Go ahead. If you waking up on one day, woken up, whatever, and said, "Man, I'm at this place in life. I've got this, I've got that, and I can't find anybody to partner up with." Yeah, go to the beach, enjoy yourself. But at the same time, reach back and say, "Listen," as Ebony K. Williams has done a little bit. Said, "Listen, when you're getting your JDs, get your MRS degree as well." That came from Ebony K. Williams. Y'all great auntie or special auntie. Not that she's a great auntie, but she's special auntie there. So take that type of advice. Tricon men that want to rewind time to the 1950s are just frustrated they can't control women. I think many of them took advantage of their positions so much so no fault divorce was introduced. I think that there's probably some truth to that. That they, again, that was not the black experience. That was not the black experience. For the most part, that was not the black experience. So much so the no fault. Yeah, I've mentioned this before that when no fault divorce came in, that these women just ran down the street. They just ran down the street. They took the option to get out. They took it, and guys have to take a look at themselves and say, "Man, if I keep my dog trapped in the house all day, not that I'm saying women or dogs, I'm just giving this analogy, right? Or any type of animals. But if you keep your animal, if you mistreat your animal all the time, and then it runs away, I mean, the whose fault is it? So men have to take a look at themselves, and not that I believe all the evidence or all the citations or all the talk about men were so abusive, they all had house women down the street or different families. Not that I believe that was as rampant as it was, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't take a look at ourselves and say what was going on. And remember, this was not a black male experience for the most part about being traditional. Most of our women always worked. So let's see here. Let's see. Reynolds, at 70% out of wedlock rate, the black women use kids for child support, tax credit, and housing vouchers. That stat has been consistent for 5 decades now. Another group has the deletions out of wedlock. Yeah, I mean that's a problem, man. It's a real problem. It's a real problem. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. They certainly ran away. Whether they ran away or they just wanted their own freedom, something happened, and we're having a hard time partnering up. Let's see. Some in engineering schools still want 50-50 to be free agents in marriage. They'll focus on taking care of their moms and focus on taking care of their moms. To be free agents in marriage and focus on taking care of their moms. Yeah, we have to really get to know these people. The free agent thing won't work if there's not the availability of it to that extent. Now, I think there's always going to be men of means are always going to have access to more women. I mean, let's just face facts about that. Men of means, men of social status, men of certain physical prowess are always going to have access to more women. They're just going to be attracted to it. Period. Just like a woman who's very well shapely is going to have more men attracted around her. They're going to be sliding in her DMs left and right. Just is what it is. So you got to do a good job selecting. We got to do a good job raising our men to be to exercise more discipline, more discipline. We got to raise our boys to do that. We got to we have to raise our boys to do that. It's interesting how people seem to forget how we got here. Women wanted what they wanted, and the men pushed back. The men got tired, and now they don't know what they want. Now it's everyone for themselves. Well, that's true. The women got what they wanted, right, and men pushed back, right. The men got tired, and there's a lot of tiredness going on now. That's the MGTOW movement, SYS, BM, and now they don't know what they want. Yeah. True, our focus teaching my young women is to learn themselves and understand that dating is a vetting process. They listen, I guess. I hope that they do. And I hope that the men listen to those of us who are trying to push forth a good message. That is the message I'm going to say is make sure you get your education as a man, become something, learn to work with your hands, learn to do something with your hands, educate your mind, your hands. And then, yes, find yourself a good woman. I'm telling my sons that now. Find yourself a good woman, one that you're ready, and don't cheat on her. That's what I tell my son all the time. Don't cheat on her. When you get this one woman, don't cheat on her. Don't mess something up. Don't ruin your family. Don't ruin her by stepping out on her. Don't do that. So it doesn't take much reality just eliminate no-fault divorce, but feminists work too hard to give that up, to give up that leverage. I think that leverage may come to an end one day. No-fault divorce. If birth rates get too bad, they've already seen what happens with child support. Well, excuse me, with 50-50 custody. You already seen it. 25% drops in Kentucky and in other places. No-fault divorce is going to be on a chopping block. It'll probably be brought up before the Supreme Court. Probably, I would almost predict, but before end of president's term, if he decides to leave office in 2028. I could see that going up. I could see that. I could see some states pushing that. Although with this blue wave that they just got, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see, juice. No, what else here? I feed my neighbor's dog or my coworker's dog or cat. My dog might leave. Well, that's the point there, Chris. They would have decent dating lives and husbands, but they don't want that, right? Because the fun today is more the fun of running around with drug dealers. They got the money. This is the point. They got the money. They got the time. They got the energy. They've got they got everything else. They got a house. They got their own 401k. I can run around with drug dealers. They'll say loudly. This guy's more fun. I worked a 9 to 5 throughout the week. I want to hang out and have some fun on the weekend. That's what I tell guys. Make sure that you're the fun. Learn something. Learn something from these dudes. Swag, how to dress. Speak your mind. I'm not telling you to go out there and get arrested. I'm a former cop. I'm not telling you to do anything that's illegal, but you can certainly work on your command presence and the way you speak. And, there was a video of a lady saying that she needs her guy to put speakers in his truck or whatever. I mean, that is in effect the whole black wife effect. If you're mad about women telling men, if you're mad about women or the black wife effect being that they get with a white guy and then turn him into, I don't even know, Eminem or who's that other dude? Who's that dude? The Southern rapper there. Dude, not Grills. Was it Grills? Yeah, I can't remember his name. Anyway, one of these cool white dudes, right? Turn him into Eve's husband and all this kind of stuff, right? If you're mad about that, then if a woman is telling you to change your wardrobe, if a woman is telling you to put speakers in your car, just hip up your life, I don't see what the problem is with that, because that is in effect the black woman. They want a certain type of man. And there was a time when a woman, I talked about this, 1950s, 60s. I remember in the 70s, right? These women would buy their men suits. And of course, I grew up in church and stuff, right? So they're buying their husband's suits and, making them make sure they're all decked out and stuff, right? That's the same thing. She's telling you how to be cool. I'm not telling you to sell drugs or weed or do something stupid. I'm not saying that. You got to have obviously some boundaries. Obviously have some boundaries. But it doesn't mean you have to sit in the house being corny all day. Go out there and have a life, right? There was a woman that was on the balloon pop show, right? She was talking about this dude, the way he dressed and talked and stuff, looked like he would read books on a vacation. Come on, dude. I mean, she's telling in a rude way, she's telling you to hip yourself up. And if you can still be as educated as you are, you can still do what you do for a job, but just maybe on the weekends, I mean, let your hair down a little bit. I don't see the problem with that. I know some people do, but I just don't see it. I don't know. And then you complain, and then the complaint is that these good women, because some of these women are fine. I mean, these women are fine, right? And then they're going out there dating drug dealers, but they would date you if you weren't corny. So stop being corny. I mean, I'm not the most swagalicious dude in the world, but I think I got a little style, little riz. I mean, I do like to wear sweatsuits all the time, but I know how to clean myself up. I mean, I don't see why this is an issue. From a guy's perspective, why are you not willing to do that? Oh, I just like to read books and I just want to, just study Donald Trump's what he's doing all day. And come on, brother. Come on, man. There's fine women out there, and they're going out here getting hooked up with these dudes, want to come back to you 10 years later with a kid or two, baggage and all this. And you could have avoided that if you just would have been cooler. If you just would have been with it. You could have avoided that. You could have helped this sister out. I don't know. I got to be missing something about this whole argument here. They wanted freedom, now they got it. Now they tasted it and don't want it anymore. They don't want to put in the work to get back to what they had for a millennia. Yeah. Drug dealers. That's extreme, Chris. Vast majority of women were definitely in relationship with young men who weren't ready for a relationship. Too many had children with those same guys. Yeah, absolutely. Facts on facts. Our one type of relationship for a young woman will leave her scar so deep. It'll leave scar deep on the men too. Don't. I hear you, high vibe. I mean, a scar. You go through a bad situation, particularly. Well, let me say it like this: if you're a person who's trying to do something with your life, and a good woman, good dude, and you hook up with somebody who's dragged you down, you will never live. I don't think you will ever outlive that. I mean, unless you just don't have it all up here. There's some things you will never go through again. Never go through again. There was an AP article that shows 40% of never breastfed. There was an AP article that showed 40% of never breastfed, and after 6 months, 75%. If that's the case, then child support should be avoided and 50-50 custody the norm. Oh, yeah. Of course, we all know that the formula was created to get the women back on the workforce. Get them off these teats. Get them back to work. Right? Yeah, don't mess it up. Yeah. Instead of the 1.9 inch to 1.6 is how low is enough? 1.9 was too low for replenishment. How extreme does it have to be? They don't care. You're thinking logically, Garrett. Stop doing that. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care what numbers you throw at them. All they know is there's a party next week. There's a beach that needs to be filled. Right? There's a glass of sangria that needs to be sipped on. I mean, that's what they know. They don't. Some people, not all black. I'm certainly not all black women. Certainly not all dudes, or but they don't care. They're not thinking about that. They don't care. They don't care. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why women. Well, let me not say that. I don't know. Get what you want. Paul Wall. Yeah, Paul Wall. I dressed a man. He got a girlfriend. I dressed a man. He got a girlfriend. That's why a lot of women say they don't want to help. Don't want to dress those dudes up because they end up leaving them. Right? What's that movie? Bobby Brown's character in that movie. Two can play that game, right? He did that. Got all fixed up, got his teeth fixed, and left her. Not funny, but I mean, I don't have the answer. Dating a drug dealer is like dating a prostitute. Let's see. Why is it our job to change our corny? Why is it our job to change out of corny if that's who we are? We're successful making impact. Sounds like women are just trying to control and change men. I want to have this debate, and I was thinking about having BGS on to talk about this because we disagree about this. I just don't see. I don't see any problem with a woman telling you to do. Obviously, I've said this before. I'm not going to say it again, right? I'm not talking about doing anything illegal. I'm not saying that. But if a woman is telling you, listen, I need you to dress a certain way. Don't you dress your woman? I mean, not dress her, but listen, you ain't wearing that, right? You're not walking out the house with that. What is wrong with her telling you, put this on? Now, if I don't have any piercings in my ear, if I had a woman, she's like, "Oh, you got to pierce your ear. I need a guy who got to pierce their ear. I'm not the man for you. I'm not piercing my ears. Draw the line somewhere." But I'm not. But if a woman just says, "Listen, let's get out the house and here's a suit, here's a pair of jeans, here's the latest fashion I'd like you to wear," I don't see what the problem is with. I don't see what the problem is with that. You can't. I mean, if you're going to be a relationship, it's a give and take to a certain point. It's a certain give and take. And if she's just asking you to be cool, to be hip, to be with the fashion. So when she walks around out of town, she brings you to y'all go to a nice go to see the Lion King at a play or something like that. That you are in there turning heads with your dress. Why is that? Why is that ridiculous? Why is that? Why is that frowned upon by quote unquote ELs, educated lame? Sergeant Willie Pete uses that. Why is that? Why is that? And by the way, Sergeant Willie Pete and I agree about. If you guys listen to Sergeant Willie Pete, we agree about this, right? Um, why? Listen, I have a doctorate. I mean, I was a cop, and I don't. You can be smart. You can be handy. You can be a construction worker. You can be a pastor in the church. You. Why you have to be corny about it? I just don't get that. I just don't get it. I'm trying to understand it. More commonly, young women date their high school athletes, the swag, the cute, less than the smart kid. But if the smart kid got cute, changed his glasses, changed his vernacular, not saying to swear and call women bees, and I'm not saying to do any of that. But if he stood his ground and stopped chasing women and projecting himself and wasn't the school punk and fought back against bullies or whatever's going on these day and time, he would grab some attention. And I would tell, listen, my son is talking to me when he was in high school and this, that, and the other. Okay, well, let's go out in the backyard. I'm going to show you some moves and stuff, right? And next thing you know, as I start to help him to massage his um his weaknesses, right? Get him to where he need to be. He started by the time he's junior, senior, he was running him and he was the group of dudes that was running the school, right? So you walk in there a certain way, you get to where you are. Not telling you get suspended, arrested again, but you can enhance certain parts of your person and still achieve success in life. I don't know. I don't know. It's astonishing to me that we having this conversations and the women are telling the men. The women are telling the men what they want, and the men are saying, "No, we're not going to do that." Some men are saying, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay just as corny as I am. I'm not going to change it. I like listening to Bach and Beethoven and listen to Bach and Beethoven." But maybe when your woman gets in the car, you blast something that she likes, or you go to the concert that she wants to go to every now and then. I mean, we're talking about people who want to be in relationships. Now, if you draw the line of Bach and Beethoven, she got to like what I want, and wanting to go to every Saturday we got to go to comic book stores and stuff. Okay, I mean, I can't do nothing for you, man. I mean, I'm just telling you that we see a lot of beautiful women who would have made better choices if they had a greater pool of men. And the greater pool, they're overlooking the corny guy because they think that he's corny, he's inflexible, and they think that he's bad in bed. This is why they're rejecting those guys. So fix some things, become assertive, and learn what you're doing in the bedroom. I don't know. It's a weird conversation for me. Now let's be honest. Why do all of that for her when you grind up the skills to get money to buy her for a wife? That's what you're competing against. Swag doesn't pay bills. Again, I'm not telling you not to go to work. I'm not telling you not to do that. I'm not saying that. Swag is confidence. If you look up swag, the definition of swag in the dictionary, it is confidence. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's swag. It's confidence. Oh yeah, we know about men being hurt. But those other men in their 50s still broken and not seeking help. Sometimes it's in their 30s. Sometimes it's in the 30s, right? Juice, don't forget the dolls, the dog, or just sweet silence. Men don't chase bills. Well, that's true too. I mean, that's part of standing there in the square. Listen, and that could be that is confidence too. Don't get me wrong. Saying, listen, I am who I am. You want me, you gotta chase me. Because I got the money and I'll pay the bills. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. But you got to have I'm just telling you, have confidence and be able to say it and stand on your square. That's what the women want. They want somebody who's going to stand in the square. That's what they want. They'll tell you all day. I want somebody who's going to stand in the square. 14 to 9%, 19 is the biggest percentage of women having baby deletions, and 70% of pregnancies of teenage women are from men over the age of 25. Well, there's a lot of sex going on. There's a lot of sex going on. Yeah, Elder, we're all going to be going extinct. We need to be having children now, women. But there's a party next weekend, and Brad Pitt's going to be there. Oh, who was that dude that was dancing on Chris dancing on Chris Brown, dancing? And who's the other dude? Chris Brown, and somebody went to his concert. It was Usher, dancing all on Usher. Those dudes get women though. Help the guy that would start his business and he didn't follow through with the business, let alone that relationship, never again. Listen, I hear you. I mean, I don't blame a lot of women for saying you're not going to do it. You know, I hear the argument about meeting a guy at the finish line, but when you have stories like this saying, I gave a guy money for a business, I helped him write up his contract for a business, I helped him start it up, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning so we could go pick up items and bring it over here, and he just fizzles out. And like, no, never again. I don't think that's an illegitimate argument. I don't. I think that's a legitimate argument that you're not going to do it again. Okay, you show me that you're somebody before I kick in my time, energy, and money, particularly as a woman. All I'm gonna say that's not the way. Look at the Tyrese situation. That's the bullish that men dealing with black women kick rocks. Well, is it all? Is it all? Let's see. Rhonda, where you been? They got me up here, Rhonda. I'm tired. You probably need to broaden your horizon, dating wise, race wise. Yeah. I just think men have to stand on being corny and make corny popular. Again, that is swag. That is confidence. I don't care if it isn't. I'm proud to be corny, lame, and a simp. Well, you got me up until the last three letters, last three words there, simp and a simp. I don't know about that. Women don't want that. You know, I mean, you're just setting yourself up to be used. So, yeah, make corny popular. Stand in your square. Hey, listen, this is what I like. I'll tell you right in a minute. I like to listen to audiobooks. I play video games. Right. Sometimes I go out, I hang out with my kids. Right. And this is what I do. I don't hang out in the streets. I don't sell drugs. I'm not into drama. I don't smoke weed. Don't come in my house smoking. I'm not getting drunk. Right. I stand on my square about who I am and what I am as a person. So stand on your square and don't, I would say, my own personal philosophy, don't simp out. Don't get used. Simping is giving money, trying to buy time, trying to buy attention, trying to buy affection, and you're doing all this, and she's getting her back blown out by somebody down the street. No, you can't do that. She's gonna bend the rules for the nice guy. She needs to bend them for you too. And she's gonna bend the rules for the bad boy. She needs to bend the rules for you too. And you need to stand on that. You're not gonna be out here just doing whatever. Look her in the eye when you tell her that. Here's my rules to be in my life. Give and take is not just relationships, it's in life in general. To be a master in your craft requires sacrifice. Includes sometimes sacrificing swag. I don't think so. I think that's where we're missing each other. I don't think it means sacrificing swag. Again, swag is confidence. Swag is confidence. That's what it is. So if you don't, I'm not again for the fifth time or whatever it is. I'm not telling you to go out there and sag your pants and always buying the newest J's and whatever is whatever. I'm saying if your woman wants you to wear certain things, you ought to say, okay, well, you buy it for me, I'll wear it, right? As long as it fits and all that kind of stuff, I'll wear it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I am saying, if you're talking about not knowing the newest vernaculars because you're in school or whatever, or because you're studying or because you got to read up on things, I can get that to a certain point. But most importantly is stand on your square. When women talk about what the bad boys have, they always say it's. And again, I've asked this question a ton of times. You can go through my other videos and you read through what they're saying. They are saying that they want somebody who's going to be, they want a kind guy who is tough, who can protect them, who speaks his mind and won't let me get away with stuff, who stands on a square. That's what they're looking for. That's that sort of dominance. Tell me what it is. Tell me what time you're going to pick me up for a date. And tell me what I'm wearing. It's a nice place we're going to. Here's this thing. Take control. That's what I'm saying, advocating for. That's what I'm advocating for. Sometimes you will have to change your dress. Sometimes you will have to open up your horizons to different types of music. Sometimes you will. If you don't like, I personally like 90s hip hop. That's all I listen to. But if you're not into that, you're not into it. Okay. Hold your ground no matter what it is. Just be a man about it. Just be a man about it. Why are we always trying to please a woman to make her happy? In a relationship, you got to make each other happy. I'm not talking about internal happiness. I'm not talking about that. And listen, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Stand in your square and just say, listen, here's what I like to do. Here's my event. Here's the movies I like. Here's the type of plays. Here's the operas I like. Here's what I do. Here's how I move. Here's how I operate. If you can't get with that, then I'll get with somebody who can. And listen, just saying that, holding to your standards, going to those places that you like to go and getting the women who are already there will have you at a different place mentally, and it'll have you getting to the type of woman that you want. But my point is that there is a lot of women who are out here looking at this pool of men who don't stand in their square, who don't seem to be able to move about socially awkward, they would call it, don't have any of those types of skills. And then they see the bad boy over there and they'll choose him over you, and you can't figure out why. The answer to me isn't to say, forget them, let them have them. The answer to me is to say, what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing? If you want those women, because some of them are gorgeous. And if they are teachers and principals, and listen, I've seen it, teachers and principals and lawyers and all this kind of stuff. I mean, ask them, what's up? Why would you date this type of dude? Why are you doing this? And listen, I used to ask them all the time in the police department, 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning, bailing these dudes out of jail. Yo, what does this dude have? Oh, listen, I don't know. I mean, I just was lonely. They tell you. And if they're telling you that they want a guy who's confident, be confident. Stop asking women when you want to go to eat. What are you in the mood for? Just take them. Just take them. Here's what I want. I'm not talking about all the time. I mean, obviously, you went in the mood for. I don't know. You pick. Then pick. And if they don't like it, well, hey, listen. This is what we got. This is what we getting. Stand on it. Stand on it. Oh, we had pizza last week. No, well, you said pick it. This is what we're picking because this is what I want to eat. I gave you the chance. Just stand on it. But even the so-called swag dudes been getting slammed in courts. Nobody got time for all the lawyers and judges. I don't know what that means. I'm not telling you to go to court. I'm not telling you to go to jail and get beds and stuff. You guys are taking it way too far. You're taking it way too far. If you're a black man as a square, just broaden your dating horizons. Well, you can do that too. I mean, but believe me, those women, white women, Asian women, they're gonna want that too. They all want socially mobile men. They want to know that they're protected. It may not be to the degree that they are, and we already talked about. It may not be to the degree that you think. We already talked about. Number one, they want their own men. So if it's a beautiful, gorgeous woman who's a 8 in her society, her culture, and she has a choice between you and a swagged out dude, not even swagged out, but a guy who's upperly mobile, maybe a lawyer in his own culture, who you think she's gonna pick? I mean, so you got to come over there and be a millionaire. So If you don't like this advice, don't do it. I don't know what to tell you. It's just a crazy argument to me. It's a crazy argument. Change what you're looking for. Stop complaining when you can change yourself and change what you're looking for. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I would change what I'm looking for. I like what I like. I like what I like, and I like what I like. So, and if what I don't like don't like me, then maybe I can adjust something about myself. And if she says something crazy like piercing ears, get more tattoos in your face and stuff, all right, you're too much for me. sometimes there is a philosophy about going where you like who likes you. So, but I know what I like, and I struggle. I struggle with. I'd rather be alone than get something I don't really like and don't really rock with like that. I'm not lonely like that, so I'd much rather be alone than be with someone I don't like. All right, oh man, all right. A couple more minutes of this. Why would a man just pick the woman that doesn't care about the swag? Then you got millions and she respects you instead of swag and disrespect. Why wouldn't a man just pick a woman that doesn't care about the swag? Then that's your choice. But no matter, even that woman who don't care about swag, whatever your picture in your mind when that is being said, she still wants somebody who's upwardly mobile, socially mobile, socially adept, who can navigate whatever realm she's in. She still wants that. That you got to understand that as a man. You got to understand that she wants that. I mean, unless you just want to sit in a house all day long, most women want to know when you take her to a party, to a club, to a Christmas dinner, to her church picnic, to her uh, uh, her job fair, whatever event she's going to. She wants a man who can interact and mingle, and the other women are wooing over. Believe that, and you better be that dude. You better be that dude. To the greatest degree that is within your physical power, you better be that dude. That's my point. They got hurt in their 30s and never did the work to heal. Now in their 50s and still moving like nothing wrong. I got you. I got you. I got you. We underestimate how much black men love black women, vice versa with white men and white women. Believe that. Believe that. We love each other. We just got to figure out how to work with each other. And if the issues of social acuity, social aptitude is keeping us apart. I mean, there's a lot of other things too, attitude and other things that ladies got to work on some stuff. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? The weight and refusal to work out and attitudes and neck rolling and all this other, we got to work on that. Femininity is a primary. Got to work on that. Full stop. You know, men rule the sex department and men should stand on what is theirs. Yeah, true. I don't get used and I do what I want. Okay, cool. I would understand the woman you're changing for can give you amazing kick butt children, but they're not. So what am I changing for? So they can. Why can't they give you that? Why can't they give you that? Now, again, you got to do a proper vetting. You got to do a proper vetting of the environment that she came from, because you can't take a woman who come from a jacked up environment and expect to have kids with her. No, you can't. But this woman, a lot of times, when you look at these women, they come from good homes, but they rebel like we all did when we were teenagers, and they get with the bad boys. I'm telling you to give them someone else to look to. And if she comes from a good home, why can't she give you amazing kick butt children? Why can't she do that? Why? And again, a man who's standing on his square, who is assertive, who is dominant, who is laying down the line, laying down the law. Here's how the children will be raised. Here's the rules and regulations. I'm not saying to override her will, but you ought to have a woman who's in line with that type of thinking and who's willing to cooperate. And if you can't meet that, then don't procreate with them. And certainly, if you don't want, I'm not telling you to change. I don't want to seem like I'm contradicting myself all over the place here. I'm not telling you to change into somebody you don't want to be. If you like who you are, then stand on it. But you know, somebody put in here about being a simp. Don't be that. That you got to stop. That you got to stop. You got to stop going along with everything. Everything's okay. Everything's all right. I can just roll over you. Oh yeah, I'll call you 20 times. I'll text message you back to back for a half an hour before you call me back, or not even half an hour. You know, for 2 days, I'll text you. I'll chase you. I'll buy you this. I'll buy you that. And I'll pay your rent. This that. That to me is not working, and that to me is not swag. Swag says, here's what it is. Here's the way it is. And if she says, okay, I'm going to cooperate with the way that it is, as you put it, and all I ask for you to put on a suit or maybe try on these jeans and maybe change up your wardrobe a little bit, I don't understand why that would be a bad thing. You're getting what you want. How come she can't get what she wants? Because particularly she has good taste. Some guys don't have good taste when it comes to dressing. Man, I belabored this so much. Let's see. I'm not scared of words and terms. I'll make it flip quickly. Someone make it work for me. Let's see. I got you, brother. I got you. If I'm a simp, I'm just trying to say I'm just saying I'm simple. Not that a woman can use me. Okay. Simple. Yeah, I think that most men are simple. I get that. Don't be a simp. But yes, you can be simple, you know, not hard to please. Yeah, I get that. I didn't get money for the business, just guidance support with marketing, but it took a lot of time. Well, I didn't mean that you did a high vibe. I didn't mean to insinuate that you did, but I've heard the story about a lot of women who have given money, bought people cars, and paid off debts and student loans, and paid off people's child support. And next thing you know, they've left. That's what I was saying. Not that you've done that, but thank you for clarifying that. Let's see here. Yeah. Be a man about it. Yeah. Yep. If a man's trying to be a good man, family and community loves him, etc., but a woman is saying, do this, do that, trying to make him cool, how is that a massive manipulation and transformation? If it's going to take you out of whatever that is to be cool, if your coolness is not taking care of your kids, and listen, if she don't appreciate that, still stand in your square. I mean, I don't know, you know, what it would be to be cool, what that would be cool in your mind or her mind, whatever that's saying. But here's my standards, and here's what I'm willing to stand on. Here's what I'm willing to do. You know, I'm not going to forsake my kids. I'm not going to forsake my community. I'm not going to forsake being a good man. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm not going to keep saying. I'm not telling you to quit your job and start smoking herb, and I'm not saying that at all. That's what dating for, finding out for each other. Then you have to make a choice. Don't try to force a round peg into a square. Yeah, exactly. Charisma. Absolutely what I mean. Charisma. They want that riz. I never try to figure out people don't come off square for people who favor me. I'm not trying to figure them out. I stay in my lane. It's enough women for everyone. You want a good, yeah, well, that's true. There's enough of them out there. I tell them where we're going. They don't ever have to know what they want. They don't ever know what they want. Yeah. I love when my boyfriend made dinner plans. Yeah. What do you like, Dr. L? I'm kind of behind you. As far as food, I eat different now. I had some health issues, so I eat mostly vegan diet, you know? So that's what I eat. Social proof me ranks supreme over money. I agree. Yeah. What do I like? I like short and thick. I like short, thick, brown skin. I'm not a colorist. Light skin, dark skin, short and thick. That's what I like. That's what I like. All right, I think we're kind of done with this here. I can't keep going down here. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. We've been on here for a minute. I have me ranting up here. All right. Thank you, guys. Skinny and petite for me. Yeah, skinny and petite. Yeah, petite. I like them short. It can be thick. Petite depends on how petite though. I like a little rumpage. I like a little rumpage, in all honesty. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. If you guys want to buy me lunch, I would appreciate it. You know, they take the super chat, so if sometimes, well, I'm always grateful for the super chats and all that. They, they being YouTube takes 20 or 30%. So, Cash App and Venmo, I get 100% of that. So, or I got to pay taxes at the end of the year like everybody else. So, let's see. So go over to the who won the debate question, fill that out. Right now, Andrew is at 28%. Okay. CGA is at 36%, and they both lost at 36%. Okay. Okay. I like what I like. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Yeah, I'm gonna go see the movies tonight with my son. We're doing a show tomorrow night. So I appreciate y'all checking out the show. Appreciate y'all. Really, really great. You guys have a great day. Enjoy it. Much love and peace.